you're gonna play with blocks all day, I'm gonna go over here and work for an hour. And before you know it, it's an hour and a half, and I'm still working, and he's still on blocks. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is where we're going. Okay, now I don't need to be so hands-on. Okay, so now I'm like, my baby and my other baby here, I'm gonna start letting them coexist where I don't have to hover over them. Like, because like when I hover over him, I can hover over this now. That being said, I'm happy that we started. Like, I've seen Jurassic Park a shit ton of times.
Me
I don't
too.
know. I know you love it. I love it too, but I think you love it a little bit more. But I love it a lot. So if you love it just a little bit more than I do, that's a lot. Damn. All right. Well, you let me know when you're ready, man. Because I've been.
Let's go. It's 10 o'clock, so we need to get stuff rolling.
All right. So all right. Let's get started. We're loosening up, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Side by Side. We have a sneak edition for everybody who's been keeping up with us. It is December 31st, 2020. Yes, it is the last day of 2020 of this year. A lot of bad things have happened. A lot of random things have happened, but one thing that has happened Side by Side has happened.
Hey CJ, I think you had it right the first time, man. And this is the last year of this year.
Yeah.
That's definitely how it's felt. I mean,
It's a long year.
It was a long.
I gotta say, if it wasn't for the 3 podcasts, especially Side by Side and CJ and the Pun and Rewatch right now, I think I'd be a little bit more out of sync, out of comfort, because it feels like it does feel like Groundhog's Day every day. Yeah. And with this, it gives me a day like I know, hey, we meet on this day, we meet at this time, we got to go, and it helps me. It wasn't until I started relocating all my files on my computer that I realized, oh, look, all these days, this would happen on this day. I'm like, okay, cool. There's a little reference here for me to remember.
I like going back and looking through my notes, but yeah, man. I mean, honestly, like, this was kind of spawned because of the pandemic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been working every day at but I still wanted to do something. I still wanted to be able to get out and kind of socialize, and maybe not the most ideal way, but hey, at least, like I said, I'm talking to you on a more regular basis, man.
Yeah, dude.
Wow, dude. Like, it was just like, honestly, nothing. It was a pretty big void there, from one time to the other. But I mean, hell, I really enjoy this too. And like I said, sometimes it does feel like work. It's like, oh man, I gotta watch this movie, but I'm never mad about it.
No.
I'm never, that's the crazy thing about it, is like, it's more of like it's a push more than a pull.
Yes. And
I'm not pulling myself to do it. I'm just like, all right, we gotta just do a little bit of that.
We were having a little conversation, and we're basically just, I mean, it's true. If it's not work, if you enjoy what you're doing, and we're saying it's like work in the aspect of like, hey, you gotta have a time, you have to meet, you got homework. You got homework. It's a lot more like school, I guess, if anything.
Yeah.
But like, just going through the process of talking through all these movies and really learning how to break them down. And I mean, being an actor and a filmmaker and all that other, I don't even know how to identify myself, because I don't want to be like, you're 11 things, you can't do all 11. Like, well, I'm mediocre at 11 things, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, there's, like, as I've been breaking down and I'm living more in that reality, I'm happy that we decided to do this episode, because we just did one the other day, and I loved the episode we did the other day. That was a really good breakdown. Really,
it really was. I was surprised of how deep we got into the Christmas story. Like, it honestly kind of surprised me. And like you mentioned a lot, man. Like, I'll get to talking to you, and something else will kind of, like, the gears will start turning. So that's another thing I really like about these conversations that we're having, is like, it gets you thinking in different ways, and it just kind of molds. And it's like, there's been numerous times where you've come in and you're like, oh, this is a 7. And then you talk to me and you're like, okay, yeah, I can see the value in this. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do. Like, we want to promote good movies. We want to, give reasons why we like them. If we're not the biggest fan of them, I mean, that's great. But I don't know if I would ever give a movie just a 1 or 2. I mean, I'd probably 3 is probably the lowest, if we're being real.
Yeah.
And mean, I would literally have to think it was a waste of my time to give it a one or something like that. But I don't
I,
feel like I'd feel that about a movie. I
I'm
mean,
okay with I'm okay with losing my money and for like that $10-15, but losing my time would piss me off more. Now
yeah,
if I go and it's like if you're to go watch Tommy Wiseau's The Room, back then I would never have like it's a cult classic now. I think it's from 2003.
yeah,
I would never have I watched it when I did watch it back then. It threw me off. I was like, that's a fucking movie. You know, I was like, that's it. That's all it takes. Like that's he broke the line for me where like it's like, look, dude, just promote your shit. You know, I was like, well, and I think it was like 2006 when I saw that movie. The Room
yeah,
is what I'm speaking about. And that's a movie that and I can break that movie down over the years and tell you how it's great. It's getting more value. It's
yeah,
getting more value now. So I would say like a stock or like a fantasy football or basketball player or a fantasy player on sports. They're if they're doing better and they're doing well, you're gonna put more stock into them, more time. And now that you can learn from Tommy Wiseau's like filmmaking and how he did it, it's just a different angle of how you break into something. That being said, the movies we chose this time, I think, like you said, like I with Christmas Story, and I don't have any real connection with that movie other than I enjoyed watching it. But now I think what I did realize was the fact that I did um, it's survived the time, and it's from a movie from the 1940s. You know, like all the
yeah.
times and oh, this is what I wanted to say when you're saying doing this. I thought my goal was to like live in the world of the movies. Like if we're doing Jeepers Creepers, I only want to live in the Jeepers Creepers world. But through doing that, we found out the reality of something that was
Mhm.
on that. And that's when I was like, well, not that point, but that's what I'm loving about it, where it's like you can't go too deep into the, the fake fictional part because there is a reality that made that happen.
Yeah,
And I'm learning more about censorship. I keep bringing that up. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that there's a lot of that, or just people like it's just the way our minds are and the way we our interactions, our behaviors are these days. I'm glad that we chose these movies. Now the movies we're talking about are definitely hardcore 90 movies. These are in the 90s. These were meant in the 90s. One of them is completely outdated, but it has a lot of information. The other one is still a beautifully cinematographic movie. It shows a little bit of a date, and you'll know which one I'm talking about as soon as we
hmm,
start going. But okay, hey, we came across these movies because it is New Year's, and we're gonna start a new season, starting on season 2, and this is the way we're gonna do it, like we did with the first one, the first season. We chose Eddie Murphy and we chose 2 movies and we got there. And this time around, we said, look, let's just get a movie that you like, get a movie that I like. We'll find some kind of centerpiece, and that's how we'll do the next episode. Not knowing that, that we were gonna pick 2 90s movies. Like I picked my movie already way in advance. I wanted you to see. This is the part where I wanted to share this with you.
yeah.
I wanted to share a movie like with a friend that I know is gonna watch it and is gonna give it its due diligence. And because my movie is not like your movie. They're both still. Would you consider sci-fi? Let's find. I would.
So hackers, I don't know, man. I don't know. It feels I do whenever I was watching it, I was like, okay, I could understand why you would think this was sci-fi because it almost seems like futuristic
Yeah.
in some of the stuff that they're doing. But I mean, in Jurassic Park, because one thing that kind of caught my eye was whenever that guy was like doing virtual reality, and then that detective comes in
Yeah.
Hackers. And then I was like, well, I mean, Jurassic Park, they had like a virtual reality thing that they were messing with there. One thing, like our little bridge, I was like, all right, maybe I'm sure we could do like the 6 degrees of connection and everything and find out like, oh, this person played with this movie. Da, 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 da. But the one thing that kind of stood out to me at first was the Unix system, UNIX, because Lex at the end of Jurassic Park mentions that she's like, "Oh, it's a Unix system. I
Yeah.
know this,"
Oh.
and she's a hacker, and that's what she calls herself. Or yeah, yeah, that's what she calls herself. So I mean, this does have a connection mildly, but it's not something that you'd just be like, "Oh, these two movies go together." Um, I also had to look and see when Hackers was made because it felt like it was later on in the 90s, not 95, which um if this movie came out in 1999, I mean it would totally fit in.
Yeah. So
You know,
so we're talking.
if it came out in 2005, I mean, it would totally fit in and probably be right on par with its time. So 10 years later, it would definitely still be relevant, if not still kind of futuristic looking.
Yeah.
And for 1995, I mean, it's yeah. If I saw this in 95 at your age, then I
Yeah.
mean, my mind would be blown because and even now, I mean, they're talking about stuff that I have no idea what's going on. And if this was the level of sophistication of hackers in the 90s, I can only imagine what they are
Yeah.
now. I mean, it's unreal.
So we're talking today, we're talking about too, what we did is we just suggested, I suggested a movie. I suggested 1995 Hackers, and Ben suggested 1993 Jurassic Park. Let's do you want to get started with Hackers, or you want to go Jurassic Park?
Let's do Jurassic Park. I feel like we can knock that out fairly well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I picked that movie and we've both seen it a million times, but I feel like I can do some heavy lifting there, and then you can come at me with Hackers because I want to hear what you have to think about Hackers, um, and I want to know what you have to think about Jurassic Park. But in a few of my notes, man, I'm really excited about Jurassic Park. Kind of like those conspiracy theories we were talking
Oh
about,
yeah, dude, I got a
but
lot.
but not necessarily conspiracy. Just like, oh, I wonder what if, or something like that. So let's dress park. Let's jump in,
So we are talking about hello. We are talking about I don't know why I did that.
man.
Hey, we're doing a early morning podcast today. So another one back to back. Hey, look, we're here at the side by side, and we're
Radio
doing
DJs.
we're doing a Jurassic Park, 1993, PG-13, 2 hours and 7 minutes. Does not feel like 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Nope.
Action, adventure, sci-fi. June 11th, 1993 was when it was released. A pragmatic paleontologist visiting an almost complete theme park is tasked with protecting a couple of kids after a power failure causes the park's clone dinosaurs to run loose. Okay, that's a little too much enough for a tagline, but that's it. Yeah,
Oh, that's just the tagline. I
that's it.
thought you were reading that off of IMDb.
I am reading off IMDb, but I
Oh,
think
okay.
that's isn't that the log line? I guess it's the log line. That's the log line.
So
So
whenever you said tagline, that's just what I see like at the bottom of the movie
yeah,
poster.
sorry. The tagline means is the small thing, and the log line means like it's like a synopsis.
Well, what's cool is they actually do have the taglines at the bottom. Let's
What
see here. Oh well. Okay. So this is the 3D re-release. It says "Remember, Return, Relive." Okay. They have some
an
other
adventure
ones.
65 million years in the making is the
Yep,
tagline,
that's one of
and
them.
that's
The most phenomenal discovery of our time becomes the greatest adventure of all time. And it really does.
so.
Um,
Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg.
I mean, you're nailing it right on the head, buddy. I mean, this is classic Spielberg. I mean, if we're being real, I mean, talk about an innovator. Talk about somebody who changes cinema um, without even, it feels like without even trying.
Yeah,
Like it's something that he does. I mean, look at Jaws, look at Indiana Jones. I mean, these are movies that I feel, oh man, I mean, him and George Lucas, honestly, I mean, they changed the landscape of cinema in the 70s and the 80s. They really did. They set the precedent.
hmm
They were like, this is what we need. This is what people want. This is how I want to make a movie, and these are my standards. I'm not going below. I've seen a couple things on Steven Spielberg. There's one about Jaws where he's like out on the boat and like it looks like it's rough to film
yeah.
um, and all that other stuff. But
Because
what do you got?
they could only do one side of Jaws.
Yeah,
They had to. It was only one angle you could use because you couldn't go into the ocean. They had to stay. I think it was like 100 yards or something, like not too far. I don't have anything as a memory as I'm gonna pop up and be like these are facts or anything. I think I know a lot about Spielberg only because it's Steven Spielberg.
yeah.
This movie, I don't even feel like people talk about him as much as they used to. He was 47 when he made this movie, and it was in 93. But by this point in his career, he nailed it. This is
Yeah.
Dude, Lost Ark, you can see it in the Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can see it in all the Indiana Jones movies, all practice for him to get to this point.
Hmm.
I've watched this movie 100 million times. I love this movie. As you can see, I mean, people aren't gonna be able to see it, but I'm wearing my Jurassic Park throwback I got just the other day. I'm wearing it again. I really do. The Jeeps. Eventually, if I ever come into a little money, I'm gonna make a Jeep. I want one of those so bad, a Jurassic Park Jeep. Like I want to make it myself. I don't want to pay $40,000 for one. I want to make it myself. Pay 20 grand or something. But um,
Pay 30,000 and to take the time of a
yeah,
40,000.
yeah. I don't say 10 grand. That wastes more time. Yeah, exactly. He knows me too well, ladies and gentlemen. I'll also say so when I saw this movie, I remember last time I said 92 and it was a 93 and you said the production. So Wizard magazine was I think was the where I was getting ready to watch this movie. And I kind of forgot about this movie because Wizard, the comic book magazine, that would give you all the latest, like what the going rate was for the comic cards and what was coming out with the gaming and whatnot. Um, it I remember seeing Jurassic Park and then forgetting about it because I was a little kid. But then we went to go watch it. I watched this in Abilene. I watched this in West Texas. Um, I do remember this movie, and this is what I wanted to share with you. This is a thought that I wanted to share with you because this is why I love movies so much, especially as I'm getting older. I have a lot of references to times in my life that loved ones, friends or whatnot that I remember, or bad timing. I remember, oh man, I remember I saw that movie when it was a bad day or whatnot. Um, or maybe I had a bad experience when I watched that movie and it really like something happened to me because I do have a few where I won't even remember those movies because of that. Now it's kind of I rewatch them and I'm like, when did I see this movie? I'm like, oh, that happened. I remember. But this movie I went to go watch with my Aunt Tony, who passed away about 14 years ago, 15, something like that. She's been passed away for a minute. But I went to go watch that with I actually went to go watch it with all my family. Like it was a lot of us, but my Aunt Tony sat next to me and I was at the end and her and I seemed to be really into the movie. Like we were like in it. Like we were like, oh, so my Aunt Tony was like scared. So she's like, Mijo, I'm scared. Do you mind if I put my arm on you, something like that? If I get scared, yeah, because her husband was like, oh, leave me alone. Like so she would get scared and reach over to me. So she was leaning more on my side. So we'd watch it and we'd talk about it. And she was asking me about the dinosaurs because she knew about them. And the one that got the okay, so you see the Brachiosaurus, and they do call it and we're gonna get a little specific here. The Brontosaurus, they tried to get rid of it apparently, and now the Brontosaurus is back. Like in reality, they tried to say that it's not. So even here in Jurassic Park, he calls it a Brontosaurus. He goes, no, it's a Brachiosaurus. So you got it confused. That's one little detail that I would have never picked up until I'm watching it now and like seeing things because showing these videos to my son on YouTube, they're all subjective. Everybody like I can make one, you can make one. They're easy. But like when people start taking like this is the fact and this is the way, that's when I get kind of like, oh, one thing I've noticed about dinosaurs from when I was a kid till now, and I do remember they had feathers and hair, but nowadays dinosaurs have like a full set of hair. They have six packs. They have sunglasses. They're so cool. But I'm like, what the? Like they're like I saw a thing the other day. It just said the Tyrannosaurus final years, and he was like all hairy. And I'm like, okay, there was your point of view. Okay, like what I'm not trying to complain is that everybody has their own point of view, but we don't. I think one thing that they asked Spielberg, they said, "You knew when making this movie that dinosaurs had hair. Why didn't you do it?" He goes, "Because I couldn't afford it."
Yeah.
He's like, "Because there's no way."
And also, like, you couldn't, exactly like you said, you couldn't afford it. The CGI and everything like that. Plus, they explained it away. I mean, it's mixed with frog DNA. So, I mean, if
Thank
I
you.
feel like that should be a good enough reason. Is like these aren't actual
The
complete dinosaurs.
clones.
They had to be completed with something else that happens to be an amphibian that probably has more of a reptile. Because I mean, there has to be some connection to reptiles and dinosaurs. I mean, I feel like what Alan Grant says in there about like they turned into birds. I can get behind that 100%. You know, I think there's probably also some kind of ancestry with reptiles, and so if you have that gene come in, boom. I'm no scientist, but these are
Yeah,
my thoughts.
this is a movie science, right? And that's what I do love about it. Like this is a good joyride. I'm on the part where Dr. Hammond actually comes out and talks to himself, and just like Spielberg, there's animation. Like he likes animation. He
Yeah.
put a whole like little spiel. I'm like, oh, Spielberg, I'm catching this now about my filmmakers.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite parts of the movie is
Yeah.
whenever that animation is going on, that DNA strand is like, "This is DNA." You know, he just has like that not really Southern, but just like
Yeah.
that guy's from America accent. You know, like you just know
I can't
this is
tell where you're
DNA.
from, but I know you're South.
Yeah, you're like in the south north part of I don't know what you are. But yeah, dude, this movie is. I mean, it's a classic through and through. It really is. I mean, from the very beginning, like it just captures you, like what is going on. And I think another cool thing about this movie too is like you don't see the dinosaurs right away. You know, it's not a it's and that's what Spielberg does though. I mean,
Jaws,
he's
Mr.
he's
Bruce.
uh-huh. I mean, he builds it up and then you were grossly rewarded. I mean, I'm telling you, like these dinosaurs look real even to this day. They look like they're part of the set, you know? And I know they built like a T-Rex
Mhm.
animatronic and everything like that, which I mean is freaking awesome. I would love to see that one day. But it's just it's so seamless. Even by today's standards. I mean, you have big budget movies like one that comes to mind is Wolverine X-Men Origins.
Oh man.
The one with Wade Wilson and Ryan Reynolds, like that one where he's Deadpool and they sew his mouth shut.
Oh,
And
dude,
you
just say
see,
just say the one with the opening scene sequence, the best of all time, and then the worst
oh
movie after that. Like,
yeah, yeah, I saw that too.
dude,
Uh,
such a letdown. That movie, they
it
opened
really
it up
was, man.
so badass. That's one of the
I
best.
remember loving that movie. There were times I was just like, really? Like the ant, like his claws in some scenes, it looks fake, dude. And you have a budget that is probably on par with this movie if I had to guess. I'm actually gonna look
Yeah, let me
that
look it
up
up.
because I'm
Keep talking. I'll look it up real quick.
but yeah, man, like it's crazy. This is 93. I was 3 years old when this movie was made, and I was 18 whenever Wolverines was X-Men Origins was made. And like it looks like X-Men could be made after. What do you got?
It's an X-Men movie, so it's gonna sell itself. It did cost
Oh,
150 million. Sorry, I gotta choke. I'm choking. Sorry, I took a swallow wrong. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, sorry. What happened was it was $150 million budget, and the box office grossed 371.3 according to Wikipedia. But that's just an X Men movie. You're right. With $150 million budget, your movie should be seamless. Like,
so yeah, and I'm looking at Jurassic Park on IMDb. The budget was 63 million
oh my
estimated.
god, that's
So
yeah.
that's a third of the X-Men budget, and you couldn't get that. I mean, yeah. And then it's opening now. The gross domestic and the gross worldwide is 1 billion
Yeah.
for Jurassic Park, but that's with re-releases and everything like that. So that's probably a little inflated. Um, we'll just say that it made. I
Dude,
mean, opening weekend, it
yeah.
it made 47 million. So almost its entire budget back in one weekend. So I would say at least 200 of that 200 million of the gross domestic is probably from its original run because this movie was fantastic, and I doubt people were like, "No, I won't see this movie again." They'd probably be like, "It was like the like whenever I went to go see The Matrix Reloaded, man. I saw it one time, and I saw it like three times after that because I wanted to see it. I wanted my cousin to see it, and
Dude,
that's
you and
yeah.
I have so many things in common. We're finding out. I'm like, yeah, I did the same thing for Reloaded. Okay, so Matrix, real quick. I love Matrix One. It was a great movie. Great. Oh, that's the one I needed to put in here. Sorry, I'm trying to do something for hackers. Here we go. So, um, but when Matrix Reloaded came out, I was like, holy shit, this is what a budget looks like. So they basically made Matrix. This is what I'm thinking. They made Matrix 1, and they didn't realize it was going to be so successful. Then they went and made 2 and 3. What happened was with 2 is they put too much freaking action in it. They forgot to put dialogue. So in 3, they put all dialogue and no action. So it's kind of like,
Mhm.
so that's the thing though. But too, I love Metro Field. I could watch it like right after Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Like it's such a great movie. But I a lot of the stuff we with Jurassic Park going around and watching this. One of the shots that I was this was shot in Hawaii, right?
Yes, yes.
So
Actually,
one.
I have a book of that. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Whoa! I want a
Yeah.
book on Jurassic Park.
Well, I don't know if it's specifically on Jurassic Park, but it's like a book on movies because my mom went to Hawaii, and so it's like all these movies that were shot in Hawaii. I have it somewhere.
I might have
I
that
have to
book.
find it. For real?
Yeah,
She got it for me.
I gotta look for it. I want to call it an ex girlfriend, but someone I was dating was like, "You need these kind of books in your life," and I was like, because I was collecting books, and I was like, "All right." And they brought me, and it was more of a history on movies,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
what this
think
was.
that's what it is. Yeah, because I got a bunch of those. I
Yeah.
got like 3 or 4 of those, and I remember I have like 2 of them. They're gifts. Like girls was like, "Hey, I got you a gift." I was like, "Oh, that's nice. Whoa, you just got me. Oh, wow, I have a heart again. It's beating. Something's beating here." But like the thing I loved about the shots were it's just the simple things I see Spielberg that he does right. He brings you into his world. He's really bringing you into this world, and he's bringing the budget into it. There's shots where they get to the T-Rex, and outside of the Brachiosaurus, you don't really get to see another dinosaur. It's not until 20 minutes into the movie. Or no, the Brachiosaurus is at 20 minutes. Sorry, it's so this movie is all built up in the beginning. It's just giving you the story in the beginning. It's giving you the characters. There's certain things that I didn't realize about Dr. Ian Grant that I picked up way more now that I'm like, oh, okay. Like this movie, this movie stuck with me because nostalgia, but now as an adult filmmaker, actor, and watching their character decisions and what they do, how they tell a story, I'm like, oh, I love this is definitely a great movie. This is one of like Spielberg puts his time into things. That's what I get. And there's a shot where they pull up. This is before you see the T-Rex, and they pull up and you see the 2 like SUVs coming by, and you just see this shot and it's just the mountains in the background. All it is the mountains. It's a down angle facing up shot. You see the cars roll up. It's just the mountains. You see the fence. You see the clouds, and you see the road. You see the turf, and you see the you see the conveyor belt, the chain on it, and that's it. I can't tell you how much I love that shot. Like, and it's like 8 seconds, 9 seconds, because in reality, he's like, look what I'm like. I'm bringing keeping you in this world. We're like I never thought about like going to like that's why I so the story just from the way it begins, the dude gets eaten, and that's why I never put this movie together. I never actually put the actual moving parts together, and I just see it moving. I'm like, okay. So what happens is there's an accident on the island,
Mhm.
and this is where money and greed really it's really it's all this is all money and greed, and this is crazy how like I don't really pick I've never picked up on it till now, because they get the accident. Now the lawyer's involved. Now the insurance is involved. So what do they need? They need experts to show the investors that this is all they're doing. That's why they bring
Mhm.
in Dr. Malcolm, the doctors, Ian Malcolm. That's why they bring them in, because they need to show that it's a safe environment. And I always wondered why that Ellie and Dr. Grant and Dr. Ian, how they, Dr. Ellie, how they, what do you call it? They're on that machine and they pull themselves off. They're in the SUV, they get out because they're the experts in their field. This is
Mhm.
just their human nature to do that. I just thought because hey, look, he saw you. No, it's just they're supposed to be going around for the tour. That's all they're supposed to be doing. That's all they're supposed to show up, show that everything's okay, and then they go back. And that's why that
Yep.
line about that Ian Malcolm is such a great character. We'll get to the characters in a minute because these characters all stick out. Like they're beautiful characters, well written, well portrayed, like everything. But that's why when Ian Malcolm says, or I think it's him, he goes, yeah, when you go to the Pirates of the Caribbean, the pirates don't eat the don't eat the tourists.
Yeah.
Like he's such a smart ass, but he's real, and he's actually right about the whole thing, which is you think about it at the time, like you have a rock star scientist. That's like that's Neil deGrasse Tyson is like that right now. They
Yeah.
exist, this guy that's just like he's so smart, but yet he's like kind of a model or something, and he even talks about, you like kids? Oh yeah, I love them, That's the part I got on this movie that I always knew Ellie wanted to have kids, and that's what you get in the third one. But that I didn't realize that Dr. Grant, like, he loves dinosaurs. He
Yep.
loves dinosaurs so much that he's willing to not have a child himself so he can focus in this world. He's a man of his time. Like he's like, I'm need to be here right now. And the whole time I didn't even realize that he's taking care of the children. That's
Mhm.
something that's not in him. It's not in him to have that parental love and care, but because I mean, he even just leaves them when they're eating in the, after they come back and they're eating in the living room, in the kitchen quarters, before they get attacked by the raptors at the very end. He just walks off and looks for Ellie. I'm like, nah, you kids gotta stay next to me. Like that's the way I am. But his character doesn't have that. Even when he explains to the little boy about how the raptor, and by the way, let me give that little kid a shout out. Oh, he's a little kid then. He's not a little kid now. He he's a in one of my favorite franchise, A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child, and the
Mhm.
fifth one, the fifth
Oh.
installment. He's Jacob, but he's a little boy. He's a little boy in that movie. Like he's a little boy. He's a little boy in this movie. I'm on. Let me see. Let me get it real quick. I wanted to give his name with dual
Whit
diligence.
Hertford.
Wait, you found him?
Yeah, Whit Hertford.
There you go. Yeah, he is in The Dream Child. And when I saw it when I was a kid, I remember being like, that was like one of my first, like, hey, that kid's in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Um, yeah, he did that. He did Nightmare on Elm Street, and he did Jurassic Park. He was a small cameo. He was in it. I
Mhm.
thought he was like but even the whole explanation of like how a raptor would devour you. He's explaining to us what like our imagination is supposed to be, and then you see what a raptor can do or kind of do. To you see it more later on in the second and third one and so forth. But yeah, dude, this movie with every little thing I picked up on it made it way like this movie was already like a perfect score movie for me. And then we went and did it, and it gave more flavor to already a good dish. And
Oh
the
yeah.
way Spielberg just makes this movie, the angles, the shots, the things he decides to put in it, like like there are certain scenes as an actor where they ask you to improv, and I'll jokingly improv a scene in my movie that I'm like, okay, and when it makes it on in the final movie thing, I'm like, why did that make it? Why did that? Why did the director pick that? I was joking around, and then they're like, well, they liked it out of all the takes, and you as a director, you got to pick. So I would take like do like your 5 or 6 scenes takes of the scene, and then sometimes the director, or I do that too as a director. I'm like, hey, get some improv. What do you want? What do you got? And we'll do like 5 or 6 improv takes, and then sometimes those come out good, and sometimes they don't. But the way to see this movie and let your character, I feel like I don't know how Spielberg works on directing character. Like Tarantino is like by the book. Tarantino is like
Hello.
can you hear me?
Oh, yep, I hear you now. Sorry,
All right,
it just
cool.
kind of broke up for a second.
So I was saying that like Spielberg, I want to know how he is with his actors. Like Tarantino's by the book. Tarantino like rips you if you don't pronounce something right. Like Tarantino and I'd have to like hang out with him for like a month so he can know how I work. So I could be like, let me work, see how you work, because I enunciate shit like crazy. But like with Spielberg, I wonder how he just does he let the actors just kind of flow into it? Does he? I'm curious to see how he works. But just the way he lets them all do, the way he puts them in the shots, every shot has a impactful meaning to the story. Even the lawyer, the blood sucking lawyer, when he's very like, oh no, we're not gonna. He's by the like, I'm gonna shut you down kind of. I'm just here out of nuisance. But then he sees the Brachiosaurus. He's like, we're gonna make a fortune. Uh,
Hmm.
Gennaro as the character's name, and Martin Ferrero is the actor. Um, when he runs into the porta potty when the T-Rex comes out. And by
Hmm.
the way, the review of the T-Rex is amazing. Like it's 100,000 or 10,000 volts electricity, and he just has his little hand on it, like this ain't doing shit to me. Like that's what I like T-Rex is like, dude. Uh, so seeing that the children, I guess to me, when the children get attacked in the SUV, I think they're just children. I think that's what happens. The adult person on there left them
Hmm.
panicked, and so they're now left as children in there. Holy crap, man! Like that's quick thinking, because also Dr. Ian Malcolm's like a mathematician, and he says it there. I forget what he is, and Ian is a
Uh,
paleontologist.
chaostician.
Yeah, chaostician.
Chaostician.
So that's what he is. And then Dr. Grant is a paleontologist. These aren't like action heroes. These are just regular dudes. So when he pulls out the flare, and I mean, it really lets you kind of sets the forward of like, hey, you're a lawyer. Look what the lawyer does. Like it's kind of like, I mean, this is their version. Laura, though, it could be in any other movie. Laura steps up, but like you hear, it's like, look, he runs. He's the blood sucking lawyer. He goes into he goes into it as like he goes to hide and he ends up dying. When I saw that in the movie theater, when I saw him get picked up by that messed me. I didn't think it was gonna happen. So
Yeah.
my little brain of like everything it's happy, everyone survives. Like I already seen a lot of horror movies at that point. So when I first saw that, I'd be like, I hope he eats him. And then he ate him. And I go, yes. And my aunt Tony was like, what? Why are you getting excited? I was like, he showed it. He showed him eat him. Like, and she was like, what? That's bad. I go, well, it's part of the movie. So we didn't even like, I was in third grade when I watched this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, I I don't think they took me to the theater to see this. I mean, I would have been three,
yeah.
or two. So I really hope they didn't take a 2-year-old to the movies to see this movie. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they did.
Maybe
Honestly,
that's
like
why you love
less.
it.
It may be, man. I mean, I have vivid memories of just like watching this movie at home and seeing that first scene and being very scared, and then just being mesmerized by everything else. Um, that opening scene, I remember, like I said, it was very, very scary, just because you didn't see anything. All you saw was the eyes, and there's something notorious and nefarious and all this other stuff, and you just you don't know what's going to be happening. And then you see his hand like slowly getting pulled away. It looks like he's drowning or something, you
Dude,
know.
even exactly. So that scene with it looks there's like there's a I'm losing you, like,
Hmm.
but there's this when he's talking to the other I guess paleontologist and the Puerto Rican guy, or the guy when sorry, I'm burping. You're not supposed to. People that do podcasts don't drink club soda. They're not supposed to, but I'm breaking rules. So when Gennaro goes to the I guess the first site, when he goes before you meet Dr. Grant, um, this is a lawsuit. They're trying to get like 40 million out of them. So that's why they're trying to, like, I guess he is dead. It shows you the power of a raptor. You find out that I mean, they're shooting it and it shoot. So
Yeah.
I never thought about, like, okay, that's the scene. Well, now that I'm thinking about the reality of that movie, they want you to shoot the animal to save the life of the guy or the worker, but they don't shoot her.
No.
They'd rather expense the guy's life and let it happened, it's an accident, move on. Companies trying to like cover shit up, man. Like that's what
Hmm.
this movie's also like. I never thought about that, and when I watched as a kid, now I'm like, wait a minute, there's all this bullshit happening.
Yeah, you get that little taste of real life inside of this fantasy world. Um, One thing that I wrote down that I had never thought of before. Um, what was Nedry's financial problems?
Who?
What Ned? He
Oh,
didn't say
oh,
the magic
yeah, yeah.
word.
Wait, who's
They
Dennis?
Oh, well, I think it's Dennis Nedry.
Okay, that's
Oh,
him. Okay,
maybe that's what it was. They kept on calling him Nedry, and I was like, oh, his name's Ned. But that's right, it is Dennis. I
because
totally forgot about that.
well, no, because I think Doctor doesn't he call him? That was the same character you're talking about. Yes, he says here
Yeah, yeah,
Nerdry. Yeah, okay. Oh, because you know what? Because he's all proper. He calls him Dennis by his first name. Okay,
yeah.
Wayne Knight. Yes,
Wayne Knight. Oh yeah, dude. But
Newman.
I never wondered what like his financial problems were. I thought maybe he was just like frivolous or something like that. What and then Dr. Hammond kind of makes him. He says, I don't expect people to um, live with their mistakes, but I do expect them to pay for it. So what was his mistake? I mean, obviously, it seems like it's something that financial problem was something that was in house. Like, what's he gonna go do? Gamble it all? I mean, the internet. You don't have internet gambling at that time.
I mean, no, but you
He's obviously not leaving the island. Did they blame the Raptor incident on him because the doors didn't lock? I mean, he is in control of all of the systems around Jurassic Park.
wait. But the Raptors they did stay locked. 'Cause remember, Muldoon goes, "What about the Raptor cages?" And he goes, "Well, they're still locked." He only cleared up the
No,
path.
yeah, but what I'm saying is, in that first scene, you see it. It's like, is it locked in? Yeah, it's locked. Like they say, yes, it's locked. And then they're opening up the gate, and then it wasn't locked. Because even if she was to hit the
Ah.
door, I mean, if it's not secured in there, I mean, that would take a hell of a force to knock a locked door. off. I mean, don't get me wrong, Raptor could probably do it, but and that would also, I mean, obviously, like the Raptor cage wasn't in his path, but maybe that's another reason why he left that up is he was scared of the Raptors getting out. He knew what the force of them was, and they had cost him all this money.
Okay, I
Maybe
can see that because so you're saying that the okay, I'm on that shot. It's just so beautiful, man. I love this shot. Sorry. So you're saying that the accident that happened was his fault in the beginning of the
yeah,
movie. So he's held accountable for it. So he's
yeah,
trying not to be so he's his motive is to get out. So he's trying to
yeah.
steal all these embryos, sell them for 1.3 million, and then be like, I'm done with this. But he's a
Mhm.
villain or he's doing something shady, and I guess he just got caught and got killed. Um, Man, his death actually would suck too. If I were to see a dinosaur with those teeth, yeah, I would just start backing up. I'd actually keep the stick with me, and I'd actually be backing up. Like he's panicky though, you know.
But how does he? I mean, obviously they have those little baby dinosaurs, but I mean, how do you not respect that kind of that power? I mean, you literally. Well, I guess he's only in charge of like making sure the park is running
He doesn't know what they
operational.
are.
Right?
Yeah,
He does. Yeah, he's not even aware of like the of what he has control over or what he has around him. But that was like I said, that was the kind of like conspiracy theory I came up with because he also mentions like don't get cheap. That's
yeah.
that's the problem with Hammond. So if Mr. Hammond is making him accountable and making him pay for it, or making him pay a portion or something like that. I mean, $40 million is going to be a
That's a
chunk of
good.
change.
That's a
But
good
you got
observation.
to imagine,
Sorry.
yeah.
Keep going. Keep going. Sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, you got to imagine that Dennis is getting paid quite a bit of money. I mean, he literally lives on the island
Yeah.
and works to make everything. What is it? Not animatronic, but automated.
Yeah.
Like he said, you have the state of the art animation, automation, and all this other stuff. So he has to know what the hell's going on and have a. I mean, his paycheck has to be pretty good. If they sourced him to do something like this to make sure everything's secure, he's
At
going to
least
be making some
at
change.
least in the 90s, he's making at least 80 grand, which is a lot. Like
Oh, I would,
standards.
I would, I would say closer to. I mean, to keep secrets, to not do what he did. I mean, I would be paying somebody quite a bit more than
I'm thinking
that. Even
90s dollar. Like even at that, because
even 90s. I would say
but
probably 500,000.
it can't be that. I would. Okay, so here we go. Is the first. Let's figure this out because he's doing it for 1.3 million. If he's making 500,000, why would he do it for 1.3? Because he needs to get out.
Because he's having to pay this 40 million. So I mean he's not going to have to pay the 40 million all up front.
Yeah, I know.
It
It's
would be
it's
it would be
negligence and lawyers.
say
He'd be
say
held
if you're
accountable.
making 500, say if you're making 500,000, right? And then you have to pay
No,
200,000 that you know
I get
out
you.
of
No,
that year.
this is where my brain's coming. Exactly. I get exactly what you're saying. Here, okay, I figured it. I figured out what makes logic to me, logic sense. He just wants to get out because he is held accountable for that. He doesn't. He wants to do. It's not going to go away. It's a lawsuit. So it doesn't matter. Let's say he does make $1 million working for Hammond, and let's say that at this point he's like, well, no, this is because this is under the table money. It's not going to be tracked back to him. There's no debit card here. He's sliding credit card where you can just find them real fast. No, this is back when you could do cash on the table. It's like now, but it's so large amounts without being questioned. So he's trying to just get it. Dude, that really is a good motive. Thank you. I think you have a little fan thing theory here. I always thought Dennis was just another inconvenience, but he is the inconvenience. He is the whole reason we're in here. He is I haven't done any research on this movie about any other fan theories, but that is true because if you get in trouble from the beginning, we found out the lawsuit is why we're here.
Hmm.
We're here at this theme park,
And
and
the book may clarify this a little bit more because this is based off of a novel by Michael Crichton.
yeah,
Um,
I read the book.
they didn't cover it in there.
I can't remember that scene. If I could barely remember the movie like that, I was trying because the thing I liked about the book. So I went through this phase right out of high school, and maybe I think it was like not right out of high school, but like in 2006, where I wanted to read better. So I bought a lot of books that were on movies. So Michael Crichton has a lot of them, man. Event Horizon, Congo, Jurassic Park. Those just movie books I read, and you find out right away that the book is always going to be better than the movie. And not to say that it's better, it's because it's in your brain, it's in your mind. and you create the movie in your head. That's why it can become a little bit better. The issue I had with Jurassic Park is when I read it in 2006, Mr. Old Samuel Jackson wasn't Samuel Jackson in '93. He was Sam Jackson around late '90s. So all this yelling every time, because in the book, Arnold, the character he plays, is it Dr. Arnold, or he has a significant role in the movie, in the book. In the movie, he's a small.
Yeah.
In the book, he has a big role, and every time he comes out, I couldn't stop hearing Sam Jackson yelling. Like, and it was like, it was a really good experience for me to be like, hey, I can't get this character out of my head because this is the way I'm portraying him. I mean, the book is remember, spoilers, tons of spoilers. The book is I think it was supposed to be meant to be a one and done, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
because everybody dies in the book. Dr. Hammond
Oh,
dies in the
wow.
book. Ian Malcolm dies in the book. All these characters
Really?
become fan favorites in the movie, so they made them live. Muldoon survives because
Really?
he's the survivalist.
Yeah.
That's what I never got in this movie. That how did okay? And I need you to explain to me what the hell is Clever Gal? How does he get killed? Like they actually, like how does he?
Because
He knows that they
okay,
attack from the
so
sides, doesn't he?
no. That was Alan talking about that at the beginning.
Oh, we know it as the viewer, but not the hunter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't. I could be wrong. I imagine that he would. I mean, he knows that they don't. He knows they don't strike at the same place. All this other stuff, and he knows that they hunt in packs. But that description of how he gets attacked was made by Alan Grant. It wasn't him.
Okay, but even at that, if he's been
But yeah,
studying
no.
them,
I
doesn't he
mean,
say that he come from the side too when they attack the cow? I think he says something like that.
I think
Maybe
so. I
okay.
know the only thing I remember is this. Is Alan Grant talking that, and he's like, he does that thing. Is
Yeah.
and so that, like I said, because I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh wait, he never specifically said that. It's not the fact that maybe he didn't know. I don't feel like it would be a sacrifice to save Ellie because he really has no
No,
connection
no, he's
there.
trying to kill it.
Um,
It's like the hunter being hunted.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so do you think
Well,
it's
and
it?
then another thing that always kind of got me, and this isn't the first time I thought about it, but whenever Dr. Hammond is like, guns, guns, I mean, he sees him take the guns out. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he thought they were tranquilizer bullets or something. I don't know. I have no clue.
What do you mean
But you know what I'm saying?
because when
Because,
Dr. Grant goes and gets the shotgun and he tells him not to
yeah,
use it, or
no. So whenever Ellie and
Muldoon,
what's that? Muldoon,
Muldoon,
whenever um, they go out and they take guns with them to go and turn the power back on whenever Muldoon dies.
yeah,
And then Ellie finds Alan, or Alan finds Ellie after that, and then he gets a shotgun. I can't
yeah,
remember how he gets it, but anyway, they're um, they go back, get the kids, and they're in that little ride that they were at the beginning,
yeah.
and they're talking to Dr. Hammond over the phone or over the radio or something, and then he sees the raptor, he shoots at it, and then Dr. Hammond's like, guns, guns, and he's just like, it's almost sounds like he's appalled that they have guns.
Yeah,
And
that's right. I caught that. And I guess he wants his product to. It's like it's his product. He wants, be
yeah,
alive.
and
But
it goes back to that greed you're talking about. Hey, quick question, just to make sure. Normally I see like a little recording symbol on here. We are recording,
yeah,
right?
I got it over here recording.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good. I
I
just
got
wanted,
it.
I just didn't see it on my end. I wanted to make sure I changed up the
No, I
iPad
got
this
it. I
time,
got it
so
right
it's
here.
not.
It says
Okay,
recording
good,
on the
good,
top.
good.
So even I wanted to also bring it up to you. Oh no, I wouldn't be talking. I've done. Remember I told you when I first got into this years ago, I did 2 podcasts where they didn't record. So I have
Oh,
3 hours of footage of like verbal podcasts that we practiced. We didn't do it. That's one thing. So it does say recording on my end. So what the hell, Dr. Grant? He's a horrible shot.
yeah,
You
he's
see,
a he's a paleontologist,
but
not a.
he's got a shotgun with like a snub, not a snub nose. It's a slugs.
Dude,
So
yeah, but also I feel
he's a horrible shot, dude. You see the
he's a
window? He
horrible
shot
shot.
three. He shot three. He shot three.
No, dude, that had to have been a shotgun, man. That was one shot.
No, it's a shotgun, but it's a slug.
It,
It's not the
oh,
pellets.
oh,
It's a slug.
okay, all right,
Because
gotcha,
that's why
gotcha.
you see
That's
the.
yeah, all right, that makes more sense too. But those holes would have been bigger if it was a slug,
I
man.
mean,
It
hey,
would have blown that glass out.
dude, you're
Hey,
exactly. But I mean,
but
you hear the shots go off, and when
yeah,
Hammond's on the phone in the extreme close up, which it's a beautiful shot, and then you see the gun fall, and you see him run, and then you see the window, and it shows like these three little shots, and I'm like, it's like, what did the glass? Yeah, you're right, because they're so close to each other, like
yeah.
almost.
Why would you drop the gun too? That's another thing. Maybe you just don't like guns. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm happy that they did that with this movie. There wasn't a gun heavy, like any.
No, no.
I love that they didn't
They
have
did have the
guns.
radios. Did you ever? Maybe it's just a South Park thing. Whenever they said they were like remastering ET, they were making fun of Spielberg and Lucas, and they were like, and all the guns are replaced by radios.
Yes, right. I remember that. Yeah, yeah, they do that. I mean, that's back
They
then.
do.
Back then they were doing that. I remember seeing
Yeah.
that on South Park. Oh, I've been loving South Park. I'm starting to I understand my DNA, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of South Park in that.
Do you have reptile DNA in you, CJ?
Little reptile, a little lizard person.
Put
My
a little reptile, little amphibian, and make sure those frogs can change sexes. That way, life can find a way.
life finds a
Uh,
way. Chaos theory.
yeah, dude. Well, and that was a. So I read something about Jurassic Park. Anytime I see those, it's like on Facebook, and it's like 15 bizarre facts about these movies. I'm like, click. Like I'll click on that every damn time.
Clickbait.
Yeah. And so somebody mentioned that at the beginning of the movie, whenever Alan Grant is on the helicopter and he reaches for his seatbelt, it's two female ends and he can't get it together.
Ah,
And then he ties it, and therefore life found a way, even with two female. And so it was foreshadowing, is what that was at that point, which I
never.
thought was kind of interesting. Uh,
I picked it up, and I picked up that this go around where I was really focused on why is he what I thought is knowing how Dr. Grant is in all his movies. I was like, you know what? He's just an improviser. He's like, man, fuck it. That's what I. But you're right, two females, and he still finds a way to do it.
yep.
Speaking about that, I mean, they basically make the whole park female, and it comes apart. So not like I'm joking, everybody. I just like I
Better stay away from that one.
was there. No, I
There's
like
some
that they're.
observations that just don't need to be observed.
I like this is a guy being raised by women, so I like take my jabs here and there because I'm always broken down. No, I think I love that they found a way. Like they show that they show that there is an evolution within an evolution story. They're showing you that it's just and even like who's the one that said, oh, Dr. Grant says Malcolm was right. Like it
Life
seems like
found a
he's really
way.
just hitting on Ellie, but he is hitting on Ellie, but he's also
Yeah,
proving a point. And I think that shows me like that's his how he catches women. And I think that's the only well now that we're talking about it, I think that's the only reason why he talks out loud so much because he's trying to get her attention.
well, even after they both leave the car, he's just sitting there talking to himself. And I mean, not knowing it, okay, so if you went into this movie not really knowing that character all that well, like it would be kind of just like, well, that's a little strange. But after watching it so many times, you're just like, oh yeah, that's Ann Malcolm to a T. And you also, I feel like that's where you get a little bit of Jeff Goldblum too. I feel just like watching that Disney Plus show where he was is like things you got to know with Jeff Goldblum or something like that.
yeah.
It seems like the way he is, like he'll keep talking, not to necessarily hear his voice, but he will continue a conversation even after somebody leaves. Like I get that vibe from him that he would do that.
I met the Goldblum.
What do you think? Is
I
he
uh
is he
I
the
met
best person in the world?
I met him. I gotta say,
Are you doing Christopher Walken? I don't
no,
understand.
I'm not doing walking. I'm doing it like getting
Oh, it's
into.
Al Pacino.
No, oh no, no, I can't do a Pacino. Oh God, that Pacino, y'all jerks. Any side story in improv class, not once, not twice, but three times, and on stage, these holes that are penis holes. They did this. My team did this to me. We're not really supposed to do improvisations of people if you can pull it if you can't pull it off. Why? I jokingly did a hoo-ah, so they dubbed me as a Al Pacino. So they try to make me do Al Pacino impersonations at practice, and they did it on stage, and I was like, "You assholes!"
Hey,
They got
oh, hey,
the oh
hey, oh,
hey
hey.
hey yo.
No,
I don't know. A little practice, maybe I can do it. I like doing walking. It's more you see Jay Moore and Kevin Pollak do it, you're not really doing a walking impression. You're doing a walking of a walking impression by this point.
Yeah,
So I'm like the third generation of that. But oh,
you're
I was gonna
walking
say
a walking.
a walking. So Jeff Goldblum, it was a weird, awkward, great experience. Not awkward. It was just a Jeff Goldblum experience.
No, I feel like that has to be part of your experience. It's a little bit awkward. I mean, he's, you know,
He's
that
Goldblum,
that
dude.
just yeah.
So
Yeah, okay.
I was warming up the vocals a little bit. I was gonna do a little Jeff Goldblum impression, but
No, go for it. I'd
no,
love to hear it.
I know, right? I was gonna put me on stage like, hey, do your Jeff Goldblum, and all my characters have accents. All their impressions have accents. No, so at the Alamo City Comic Con in 2018, my first one, I went, just, I mean, Arnold was there. I should have got that one anyways. But I went, and they had the Jeff Goldblum, sign up to take pictures with him. His damn, like, I got lucky that I was in the front. I just happened to be standing where like four people, were like, hey, you sit here, stand here, and then the lines started. Like, I have footage of how many people, like, wanted to meet Jeff Goldblum. Like, it's insane. First thing you notice is not only he's extremely tall, but he hunches over a lot. So you think he's a lot. I mean, he's probably like 60 something now, but when I met him, he's like in his 60s. But he looks better than me in my 30s, like. But but when I met him, like, so when you go do a meet and greet, or just you take your photo. Your photo is like literally 5 seconds. Like, you go in and they're like, hey, dude, like, I love Robert Englund, Mr. Freddy Krueger, because when he gives it like a little bit longer because he wants to do a pose with you or something. But other people, like when I met B Fresh, when I met Brandon Fraser, like, he was like, hey, what's up? It was more of a so, but when I met Jeff Goldblum, and also at another Comic Con or another Fan Expo I went to, someone brought up their Jeff Goldblum experience, and then I brought up mine, and they're very similar. So when you take your so you do that, you go take your photo, and then you want to get a signature, then you come around and you go to their booth. Now their booth can be one person in the line, no people in line, or it can be like, there's no way you're getting to them. You're never getting to Robert England unless you get there at 8 in the morning, and you have to wait. Like, it's impossible to get some signatures. But Jeff Goldblum, I went to take the photo, and I went up to him and I went, hey, what's going on, sir? Just want to let you know that I don't know why I said this. God, I can't believe I'm admitting this. I don't know why I said. You get excited, dude. It's weird. Like, it's so, like, that kid. Like, I always talk about that child nostalgia in me. It just kind of comes out, and like the first time I meet somebody at a Comic Con or an expo or anything, like I'm always like the little CJ. Like, after I meet him the second time, then it's easier. But when I met him, I go, oh, hey sir, you. I just want to let you know you inspire me. I just said that. I don't know why. I don't know why the fuck I said that. You inspire me because, I want to be like a Jeff Goldblum, a little mini, darker version. So I told him that, and this dude stopped posing. He was ready to pose. He stopped posing, and he started talking to me. So you're supposed to spend like 5-10 seconds max with him. I was just talking to him for like 40 a minute. Like, well, actually, he's talking to me, and he's like, "Oh, no, you inspire me. No, young man, you inspire me. If it weren't for you, then I wouldn't exist. I exist because of you. Oh, no, you, sir, you're the one." And so he's talking to me, and that other guy I spoke to at the other expo, he said, it was weird when I met Jeff Goldblum. I talked to him for like a minute and a half. I go, and while you're taking the picture, he goes, yeah, like, yeah, that's what he did to me. So he did that. But then I went back around to get my signature, which I thought was going to be, well, I guess not a lot of people were going to cough up like a bill 20. I don't know. It might have been a bill 40 to get his signature, which I did. I was like, I need to go full circle. So okay, so a little bit more about CJ, about going to fan expos. I like to get my photo taken with whatever age they are, if they're when they were younger or older. I like with the person who made a movie. I like the character. I'm an actor. I'm a filmmaker. I live for this, and I like getting their signature. But I don't really get them personalized to me, and I don't just get their signature for resale. I'm not trying to do that. What I do is I get them made out to my son, and I ask if they can you please write something motivational, which I love it when they do. 90% of the time I've gotten maybe 99% of the time I've gotten something great. And it's up to me to tell them to say something. I don't know what to say, so I'm like, make something up. Well, I say 99% because, well, Goldblum falls under that 1% that so I go, so there was, it's a weird, it was like 4 people ahead of us. and there's like this lady in front of me. Well, she must, I won't call her a lady, but I don't know. She's closer to my age. She was probably like in her early 40s, but she was dressed up like in a like Daisy Dukes, like it was like 1990, like promiscuous looking. And she had her daughter
Mhm.
with her, was like probably like 15. Her daughter was like, "Come on, let's get out of here." She's like, "Hold on, I need to meet Goldblum. I need to meet him." So she was right ahead of me. So when she went to go saw him, she was like flirty and flirtatious, and his handler was like, "Hey, chill out." So I feel like she kind of got him off, like like she was like in his ear talking to him and stuff, and he's like, I was like, "Hey, can you please keep a distance?" And so she was like, "Hey," and the daughter's like, "Oh." So finally, when he was kind of like, I don't know if he was weirded out, like if even Jeff Goldblum gets weirded out, but when I gave him my signature, I go, "Hey, can you make that out to my son?" And then he goes, "Oh yeah, sure." He just signed it and handed it to me, like, "Hey, like there you go." And I was like, "Okay." I don't think he got it, but it's Goldblum, so I'm gonna let it slide. But also, I feel like
Yeah.
that lady kind of got him out of it, like his face went from like aha smile, so like kind of like I don't know, it was a weird experience. That was a cool experience. I'm not gonna say meeting him was weird. It was a cool experience. It was just funny because he kind of breaks the mold.
Hey, so I just wanted to get this in there last I remembered. I wanted to critique your Jeff Goldblum
Oh, go for it.
impersonation. It sounded like a. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, it sounded like a mix between Barack Obama and Richard Nixon.
Oh
And
no.
I really, is that was that Pacino coming out
No,
right there?
Pacino's this. No, Nixon would be like this. This would be my Richard Nixon.
Well, what I'm saying is like it sounded like Barack Obama and Richard Nixon like had a love child,
Okay, let's
and
see.
you would be that perfect.
I would be. I
You would
would
be
be the the middle
you
color.
would you actually that actually works out. I'll
If
be
my
that.
hair was a little different, maybe. Yeah, yeah, you're right. So Richard Nixon to me, because I have Futurama, and Richard Nixon would be,
Oh yeah.
and then my Jordan Peele Barack Obama would be a little bit more like this. I'm not a good. I've never done. It sounds like Jerry Seinfeld. I've never done a Barack Obama. It's very positive. A Goldblum. I've been watching Kyle Denham on YouTube. He's very offensive. So if you want to get offended, go watch him. I love him. He's great. He's a very great content creator, and he does the deep fake with Jeff Goldblum and Ray Liotta having a conversation, and that's where I'm doing that. But let's move on from my impersonation. We'll do a segment on my. I can't do impersonations. I don't practice them enough. I just don't. And also
Listen, man, I wasn't trying to
no,
dog you or
no, I
anything.
got you. I know you know me. I know I know you. I'm not. You're not trying to. But I will say there is a reason why. When I do foreign accents, how come I do them really bad? And when people tell me like you don't sound like that's not how they sound, and I go, well, you don't look like you're from there. So you can try to get the accent down, and it's funny. If I do it, motherfuckers are gonna come out of the woodwork, be like, "Hey, he's from my country. Come hang out." Like I'm like, no, I'm butchering this, so you can't tell where
You
I'm from.
gotta you gotta go over the top. That way
Yeah, I'm doing a
you
horrible
don't
expression
you
because I
don't
was
scrape the bottom.
yeah, dude. Because I get too close and people be like, "No, no, you're not Mexican, dude. You're from my part." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm from Texas." It's just you know. But no, my thank you. I will see what I can do. I'll see what I can bring to the
No,
table
no,
next
no.
time.
Like I said, I wanted to get that out there. I had it in my heart. I needed to get it out to you.
Oh no, no, I'm saying
Um,
I'm see what I can do with some time. See what if I can actually try to see if I can get it down. I'm not.
like I
I'm
said, from the heart. I
oh,
needed to tell you that. Uh,
thank you, thank you. All right, so let's
like
go
I
down
said,
the let's go because the movie itself, it's I'm seeing we're already 11. It's 11 o'clock, so we got an hour
yeah.
to talk about hackers. But I mean, we could talk about. I mean, let's talk about more points about this movie. Yeah, Whit Hereford, Volunteer Boy. I'm on the IMDb looking at Sam Neill. He does
Mhm.
a great job, and I did say he in Event Horizon?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
he
he's in
is.
it. Yeah, because yeah, he's in. That's another Michael Crichton book. Um,
I
Laura
think he does a lot of stage acting. I believe Sam Neill does.
Yes, he's a.
Um, yeah.
I got a lot.
So,
Of, sorry,
oh, go for it.
I got
No,
a
no,
lot of
no.
little
It was about.
subtleties from Sam Neill as Dr. Grant this time. I got just the little subtleties. I noticed that he's kind of a kid, like because the way he's with the dinosaur bones and everything. And that's why he's able to kind of relate. It'd be different if it was Malcolm instead of Grant, because Malcolm would be more like the father because he has kids. He'd know
Yeah.
Grant. This is an experience for him as well as for them. But what were you gonna say?
Huh. That's pretty good. Um, well, I was just gonna say, and I was just had a question to you. So, engine. which is the fuel for the next two movies, essentially, especially Lost World, Jurassic Park. Um, was the helicopter the first mention of them? Like at the very end, whenever you see
Yeah,
him get in the helicopter and it says
yeah,
engine on there.
I think so.
Okay, I think so too because, like I said, that was a main catalyst in the second movie. Also, I imagine the book it was pretty heavy with
Yeah,
engine
it
and
is. It
everything
is.
too.
That's the main thing. I think that's the drive and the book.
Yeah,
Like they're like, I mean, well, you'll get it. I gotta read the book again. It's been like 10 years since I read it, but I think with the book, it's more detailed. What's up? What's that?
dude, they should make an audio book of Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum voicing
Dude, we should make an audio park of Jurassic Park with
it.
me as
And
Jessica, but me as all the characters and you're the narrator. I gotta
I like an audio.
like, that's,
I like an audio park better. Let's make that.
no, I'm saying like
Uh,
I'll play all the characters and I butcher all their accents. I think it's like it's the same guy.
like,
Um,
oh look, we got Christopher Walken in Jurassic Park. Never knew. Al Pacino just snuck in there for a second.
but it's the same line of dialogue. But we have four actors, four voices. So Laura Dern as Ellie, she does a great job.
Oh yeah,
When she's not a, okay, so female, uh, survivor, final girl, whatever you want to call it. She's not
yeah.
overpowering. She's smart. You see her when they see the Brachiosaurus, she's more intrigued in the. She's a botanist, so she's more intrigued into this old plant, this old prehistoric plant, until they show her the dinosaurs, and she's like, oh, but she's kind of all over the place too. My whole thing is like, how come if this Triceratops has been getting sick and they've had these doctors for 6 weeks now, every 6 weeks, let's see, it happens 3 times. It's been 18 weeks. Like, how come she shows up and then she's in charge now, or kind of or I think maybe it's a different angle what they're showing that someone.
I think it's because so maybe just because she is a paleobotanist.
Yeah,
That's my guess. Is because they are aware of who she is. I mean, even then, I mean that seems kind of far fetched. I mean, unless you really don't know how big a crew you have out in Jurassic Park. They may have had like, hey, these are our
yeah.
guests, kind of thing, because they do. What sorry, just kind of have you ever had Chilean sea bass?
Oh shit.
Because
Oh, I love
they
Chileans.
they they made it look really good in this movie, and I've never had it before.
Dude, I would
I was just
recommend it.
curious.
No, okay. So
Um,
I was gonna say that's when I started noticing Dr. Ham start getting more involved in like, hey, let's go this way, and that's when I was because that Chilean sea bass. Oh, Alejandro, the chef, he prepared us a Chilean sea bass chili. That's quite like remarkable. Like he's trying to divert them before they go see the raptors,
yeah.
and if you do, if you ever get the chance, Chilean sea bass is the shit. Chilean sea
Okay.
bass is so good that you can take the leftover Chilean sea bass, put it in a water, and call it a soup, and it tastes so damn good. Like boil it. Like if you, I can make you some of that if you need. I'll hook you up, man. That's one of my favorites.
Thank you. Um, no, but I think sorry, just to go back to what you were saying, I just wanted to take that quick break right there. With Ellie just coming in and just kind of taking charge. I mean, I think they're just kind of deferring to her judgment because she comes in and she's asking questions like she's asking relevant questions. They're like, no, we know the dinosaurs don't eat this, and honestly, I think another thing, if she's willing to stick her hand in shit, then I'm gonna probably listen to her too.
Now that's one big
um
pile of shit.
yeah, I think that really kind of serves to her credentials, is like she's willing
So
to do that.
I guess I mean, what I'm getting is, I'm guessing, yeah, exactly. That they said, hey, this is a different angle. Like we're stumped. And here
Yeah,
she comes and asking different. All right, cool. And but you never do find out what happens to the Triceratops, right?
I don't think so. I don't think it's the lysine, because they did mention something about a lysine um, thing to just like kill all the dinosaurs because they don't produce
That's
lysine
right.
or something.
Oh, that's right. They have
But
they
it,
have a kill switch, right?
yeah, and I think another thing it could have possibly been hinting at is that maybe reproductive cycle could also be the thing.
Or
I
also
don't know.
maybe I think maybe they just can't, or that maybe it is pregnant or something, or no,
Yeah,
it's poison, or maybe it's showing that they can't survive in our world. Like it's too hard.
possibly.
Because I
Yeah,
mean, what science is? I mean, nowadays, you can even say dinosaurs didn't exist and the flat Earth and all this shit. But whatever. I mean, it's what everyone has their own thing. But with Shit, I even lost what I was going to say about that because that's how
No, I'm
I
saying
don't.
the atmosphere was completely
Yeah,
different. I think
sorry.
that's where
Okay,
you're
so
going with
I
it.
was going with that. So what I would remember was like a theory that dinosaurs got extinct was because the climate change. They're so big because they needed somewhat they needed their blood to be flowed because it was so hot, and then as they got cooler, they didn't need to be so big, and I think they just kind of over time.
Which is funny because I didn't catch this until this time. Whenever they are looking at the Brachiosaurus, Alan Grant says something that's like, "This is a warm-blooded animal," da 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 da, and all this other stuff. So I thought that was interesting too.
Oh, cool.
I didn't write that down, but I did remember catching that
Yeah. I did like on
this
the
go around.
helicopter when they're descending on the helicopter. That shot it feels like you're in it. I never realized that before. Like they have it where it's angled, it's tippy, it's tipsy a little. It's not they do it so subtly. Spielberg does it so subtly you don't feel like nauseated. You can. Once I focus on it, I was like, oh, look at this. Um, I mean, even
Um, oh,
what's up?
sorry, go
I was
for
just
it.
gonna keep
No,
going down the line, like 'cause we talked about Jeff Goldblum, and everybody knows who he is, and Dr. Ian
yeah,
Malcolm. He's an amazing character. Richard Attenborough as Hammond, Dr.
yeah.
Hammond. He does a
hmm
great job.
He's a great director too. He has quite a bit of
He's a
directing credits.
director.
Yeah, and then his I think it's
Ah,
his brother does that like Our Planet or something like that. It's another Attenborough.
wow,
But
that's
let's
a.
see.
I did what I did. Like, oh yeah, director credit. He's got a lot. Gandhi. He did
Yeah,
Gandhi.
like yeah, he's like a big time director.
Dude, I used to.
He's
What I was
he
noticing
did
this time,
Chaplin too with Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey. I liked that he I seen him just as Dr. Hammond when he first meets Dr. Grant, and he's jumping up on the counter, opening the bottle. Like I like seeing his energy. I mean, I'm assuming he's like in his 70s or 60s in his movie, but
Let's see
I
here.
mean, Christopher Lloyd was 40 when they did Back to the Future, so it's like
He was 22, or he was born in 23, so he was yeah exactly 70.
yeah.
He was 70 years old when this came out. He
So
died at 90,
and yeah, so
2014. Yeah,
oh, well, recently, not too far long, 6 years ago, I think it was pretty recent.
yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah, that's cool. Like, see, like to keep it up, man. Stay focused. Do your film. Just keep making your movies.
Let's see.
Miracle on 34th Street. That's what I remember him for too.
Yep, his last acting credit was 2002.
And then
So
I will say I did like Dr. Muldoon, Bob Peck. He does a good job as the Outback guy. You know, just for like a little. He only has a few scenes, but he does a good job. And then you have what's up?
oh, I was just saying, like the accent really sells it too. Like you just, I don't know why, but you just feel like that he knows what he's talking about because that also his hat with the little curved side on there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, like
he's a character, man. He's just he's good like a good visually aesthetic pleasing for the movie. He's for that area, like for that park. Quiet. They're entering the Jurassic the T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus exhibit. Like he's the
yeah.
like serious guy, and then he dies
Yep.
really easy. What's up?
BD Wong is
That's
another
right.
person. Oh, dude, I love that they brought him back for Jurassic World. I thought that was really cool. And spoilers. Sorry, we're kind of spoiling everything here. But they also kind of made him not a evil character, but one of the kind of like an antagonist in Jurassic World.
I'll tell you this. I just bought Jurassic World. Like I saw the other day for $5 because it was at the counter. I was like, hey, man, it's $5. I love Jurassic World. Um, Fallen Kingdom. I can't. I gotta
No,
re.
me neither.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it,
Even
but it.
me too. But even Jurassic World, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed that movie. It was great. But there were still some scenes that I was just like, huh. Like at the end where they're like, all right, you got to bring out the T Rex, and it's like the T Rex is the hero, and I get it. Like I want to see that too. Don't get me wrong. The just in here, I want to see that. You can't say I'm pointing at my chest,
Yeah.
but right there, I want to see that. But you can't just make it like, all right, I'm gonna turn on this flare, I'm gonna run down this hallway, and these dinosaurs are gonna fight. All right, this is the only way this is gonna end up. I'm not gonna die. They're just gonna fight to the death. Like
I think.
but
Oh,
it just
I think that's the only way, like for that story, because Jurassic
yeah,
World, what I'm finding out, what I've looked up, it has some flaws in it for story wise. And but I thought it was what made so well, and the acting's decent enough where you can let go of those flaws. Fallen Kingdom is a whole like story, just they just it's not even, I don't want to call it canon. I feel like it's not a Jurassic Park movie, or if it's not supposed to be, but I don't know.
And I think what they're doing now is yeah, with Fallen Kingdom, I think they had a different director. Colin Trev Trevorrow. I can't remember exactly how to say his name. But he was actually going to direct the last Star Wars movie.
Oh, okay.
But they pulled him out. Actually, I think he left because Last Jedi was just not very good. And well, a lot of people thought that. And let's see
These Star
here.
Wars people you speak of.
Yes, and so yeah, you had J.A. Boyana is who directed Fallen Kingdom, and they had Colin Trevorrow back for the last uh in the trilogy, which it seems like, at least from IMDb, we have Alan Grant, Ellie, and Jeff Goldblum coming back for this movie. Um, yeah, and so we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
I
see
mean,
how that one
I
turns
just
out.
think. Sorry. Keep going.
No, no, after you.
I was just gonna say, Fallen Kingdom just feels like a movie that they like. I don't even feel like Chris Pratt wanted to be in that movie. When you see him, when you first meet him, it's just like, dude, what the hell, dude? Like, it shouldn't have been made. They should have not made that movie. They should have just waited a little bit, or maybe worked on the story. I feel like they're trying to appease the old school Jurassic Park people, but trying to get new people at the same time. And
Mhm.
I feel like it was a bust. But that being said, I do want to give a little shout out to some of the characters, but we got to move on if we're gonna do our
Yeah,
timing.
yeah,
Um,
we gotta
I'll
keep
say
going.
this. I mean, let's say we got Samuel L. Jackson, Wayne Knight, Miguel Sandoval was the guy that he has a small little part in it. He's the guy that gives the lawyer all the information about Dr. Grant, and in the beginning where he finds the mosquito in the sap. Uh,
Hmm.
Tim is played by Joseph Mazzillo or Mazzillo. He I don't remember him. I remember him a whole lot of movies. You remember that
Who
him
is
being he was in Radio Flyer, the one that horrible movie that I love that reminds me about my childhood. He's in Jersey Girl. He's in he didn't really come out too
he
many.
was in Jersey Girl?
Is it no it's a not the Jersey Girl in the 92 version Jersey Girl, not the
Oh,
Kevin
okay.
Smith one. Which I just purchased. That's showing up sometime today or tomorrow. He also was in the Star Kid. He's the Star Kid. Remember Star Kid?
That's who it was.
That's who
Okay,
he
yeah,
is.
that's who it
Yeah,
is.
and then we have Adriana Richards, played by as Lex, played by Adriana Richards, and she was in the I guess just the Lost World, but she didn't really act too
She
much.
was Tremors. That's what she was
Tremors,
in.
yeah,
The
hell
original
yeah.
Tremors, and then she came back for the third one, Back to Perfection.
They always bring you back. I mean, you Samuel L. Jackson's character Arnold is a small character role. Pre yelling Samuel L. Jackson. So I love all his roles before he yells, but also I love all his. Sam Jackson is just Sam Jackson. You gotta love him. Um,
He's great.
he's great.
He's
Yeah, there's
great.
nothing wrong with any of his performances. It's just him. Um, but I'll say, what is it? I was watching. No, well, I don't because you could talk about Samuel L. Jackson for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Hackers. Let's move on to 1995's Hackers, PG-13,
Hmm.
145 minutes, comedy, crime, drama, released September 15th, 1995. Let's see, with the IMDb, it doesn't even have a tagline on nine. Are you kidding me? Did it not upload?
Wait, no, it has one.
I don't have one
There.
in here.
Let's see here. Let me look it
Am I not?
up.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's located different. It's not the bottom. It's at the top. Hackers are blamed for making a virus that will capsize 5 oil tankers. That's basically it. That's the whole movie right there.
Okay,
Um,
and honestly, you forget that that's even the plot. Because everything, I mean, at least for me, like I totally forgot about the tankers capsizing as I was watching the movie until the very end, where they don't capsize and they show you a picture of it. The tagline is "Hack the Planet" at the bottom, um, on IMDb. So that must have been what was on the screen. First time watching this. First time watching this, it was it was like a blast from the past, man.
hell yeah.
Rollerblading everywhere, like Jesse Bradford looking like he's
Little kid.
13.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! Like it was an interesting watch. I watched it late last night. Um, we watched me and Kenyon watched a movie before that that was called Loving. Uh, it was about Richard and Mildred Loving. Like one
I've
of
heard of the title, but I can't remember the movie.
it's about an interracial couple and they get married in DC and go back home and they get kicked out of their home or out of their state because it's not legal for them to be
Oh, so
married.
it's like an older timepiece.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
like a biopic kind of thing. Um, but yeah, man, I watched this and I was just like, what the fuck, man? That's the best. I mean, this is just like a what the fuck kind of movie. Like, what is going on? Like, it's like whenever you read comedy off there, I was like, yeah, I see that, but I don't think this is like.
Supposed to
I
be a
could be wrong.
comedy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a comedy. It just has Matthew Lillard in it, and that's gonna make it funny. Um,
Repeat offender. Matthew
uh,
Lillard.
has Johnny Lee Miller been in anything else besides this movie? I
Dude,
don't
he has
remember.
been in he's been a lot of Loki, but he's in Dracula 2000. He's the main guy in that one.
Okay,
Dude, Johnny Lee
okay.
Miller was, I guess he came out, he was a little promising. Also in Train Spotting. He's part of I think, is he part of that Ewan McGregor crew?
Mm,
I think he's British.
okay, okay. And he was probably in. Okay, he probably had more stuff over there
Yeah, yeah.
than on the
I think
Britain
yeah,
side.
because and the last thing I've heard about him was doing Elementary, that show with
Ooh,
Lucy Liu.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in a Lonesome Dove miniseries too.
Now
He played Woodrow Call.
you know who else was in Lonesome Dove
Who?
as an extra? Me.
Really?
Yeah. It was either it's called Streets of Laredo's. It was like off of the Lonesome Dove series.
Yeah.
So I was
Is that the one with Val Kilmer?
no, this is the one with Maverick.
Oh, John Voight.
No, Gardner, James Gardner.
Oh, okay.
And there's the other one with Tommy Lee Jones and I think, is it John Voight?
That's the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was in one of the, I
No,
think,
no, it was Tommy Lee Jones and Robert Duvall.
about Duval. Yeah. I
Yeah,
got
James
there's
Gardner.
a photo somewhere. I think my dad probably has it, so it probably doesn't exist anymore. But there's a photo out there of me, and is the one of the main actors from what do you call it? The Untouchables. Remember the Untouchables? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah,
Kevin.
yeah, yeah, with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery and everybody.
Yeah, the guy with the like the accounting guy, the guy with the glasses. I have a picture. Him and my brother and I have a picture together, like posing with him in a. And I gotta find it's. I mean, it's probably long gone, but it was we were dressed up as cowboys, or like, well, he was a cowboy, we were the Mexican, like the Mexican people, but the Conquistadores. That was a pretty cool. I think it was Lonesome. It was a Lonesome Dove series. It was called Streets of Laredo. I think
Yeah,
it was.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was out of that series because you had Woodrow Call. I think it was set after the events of Lonesome Dove.
Okay.
And then yeah, Sissy Spacek, who was in for Christmases
Oh
last week, she was
yeah,
in that.
hell yeah,
Um,
Sissy.
but yeah, no, kind of. Sorry, kind of got off a little ways there,
Side
but
by
back to
side.
actors, man.
Remember,
Side by
we're
side, man.
side by
Yeah.
side by side by side, and we repeat it.
Um, Mark Anthony is in this film.
Ah,
I
yes.
I saw I saw him. I was like, is that Mark Anthony? Um, this is almost this movie too is like it's like what you wish you could do on a computer. Like what you wish your abilities could be, and then just like I couldn't do this. Like the most I could do is make my MySpace page like have beer cans floating on it whenever I was 12. That was the max I could do as far as computer goes. I'm just reaching the end of hackers, and yeah. So one thing that got me last night too, in the ending credits, like they just have Penn like right in there at the end of the credits. Like they just say, "This was how," And I was just like, "Why did they do that?" It's like in the middle of it has nothing. There's no other cast in there. Like, why did they do that?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
because I think they want to show that he's in it. I think at the time he's probably the only the really big name.
Yeah,
I never noticed that actually. I've
yeah.
seen
It's just like it's like casting director, blah da da, and then it's like Pingeleta's how, and then it goes back to like other stuff, and then right after that too, like he's in the scrolling credits too.
Yeah, no,
Like they
I
just,
think it's because at the time he was the biggest name on this.
I mean, can you imagine like hackers with Pingelette? Like,
well, they do that, when somebody like one of those older movies, like what is it? Not like Brad Pitt or something, but like they have someone like
no, I
that
know,
that
yeah,
it's starring. I mean, I'll show you right now the movie.
but I mean, like, well, in like 1999, like, come see Pingelette in Hackers,
Hackers.
like,
Well, or Executive Decision, Kurt Russell, Steven Seagal, and you're like, oh, Steven Seagal's in this movie, and he dies like at the end of the first act, and you're
yeah,
like, and they put him on the cover, Steven Seagal, he's in there.
kind of like Drew Barrymore in Scream, you know.
But that's aha
That
introducing Nev Campbell, Cindy Prescott. I like that. I don't know
yes,
why I did an accent.
yes.
I think I'm in accent mode today. It's morning.
I think it was that Dracula 2000 that's still
Yes.
attached to
Well,
you.
it's also
Uh,
I'm a morning person, so my brain has been. When we do them at night, I'm like shutting down. Now I'm like
dude, I'm
I was
telling
wondering.
you, I think we'll have to do them in the middle of the day for me because in the morning I'm just like dragging ass, and tonight I'm dragging ass. I honestly, I think in the middle of the day I'd be dragging ass too. But
Once it becomes the job, we are gonna be 9 to 5ers. I'm pissed off. I gotta go to work
yeah,
today. I gotta talk about my
yeah.
job.
Oh man, we got to talk about movies today.
Oh god,
Watch them. Ugh,
god damn it,
ugh.
dude.
That must be what some of those critics think with the scores that they give sometimes.
Hmm.
But yeah, dude. So I'm gonna try to stay on Hackers because this was a really interesting movie. I don't have a lot of notes. The first thing I wrote down was the opening scene feels like this is gonna be a true story, just by how absurd it is.
Yeah,
You know, like it's just like you see this FBI agents and like they're just or you don't I guess they're FBI. I don't know if it actually says it on there, but you just see him storm this house and you're like, oh man, you know, they just got this guy and all this, and it turns out to be like a little kid, and he did all this stuff on a computer, and you honestly like half the shit they talked about, I had no idea what was going on. This like I feel like if you were into computers, like you probably thought this movie was cool and corny at the same time because it talked about stuff that you knew about, but it just said it in a way that you're like, oh,
made
that's
it
weird.
cool. Made it well.
Yeah,
And I don't. I think it's corny now. This movie has aged, not really bad, but it has aged.
yeah.
The acting is good. I'll say that. Yeah, it's if you know the dialogue, it can be a little corny and cheesy. But I mean, back then it was
I
like
need a with Jesse Bradford. Like, I need a handle, man. I need a handle. Like, what are you on
well,
a CB fucking radio, dude? Like, I get it. Like, that's it's just funny, man.
well,
Like,
I'll say about this movie, and I'll say that this is way ahead of its time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it came out at a weird time because it's pre-internet, and I didn't get this all the millions of times that I've seen this. Like I said earlier when we were warming up, this is not a movie that I can just put as background. I watch it every time. Like this morning I watched it again just because I was waiting, and I was like, oh, I got an hour and a half before we get started. I'll just watch it. Like I'm obsessed with this, and I think it's because the way I got introduced to it. See, I did see this in the theater. I didn't. I was in fourth, third grade. Was it? Yeah, I was in fifth grade. So I did go watch this in the theater, but I'm the oldest of five, so I'm the old dog. But I don't have older brothers, so I have older cousins that would let me hang out. I have older aunts, you hang out. Well, one of my cousins still to this day, big old nerd tech guy, and he took me to this movie, which I just thought it was a cool movie. Look at all the shots. Look at all, Angelina Jolie. Like I didn't know that was her. She sticks out. Like holy shit, look at this chick. Look at Kate Libby. You see all these things about just the way it was. I mean, I guess for what the time it was, where it definitely broke the mold. I felt, but this movie is definitely the internet. This is how the internet was before it became what it is. There's all the stuff you should. Anybody who watches this movie now should get all the internet references. I'm not talking because it's the stuff we use now. It's the code we use. Nothing's changed. These are just the tech guys. I took a lot of stuff from this as an actual. I didn't take it. I watched this movie when I watched it last night as a regular. Like I said, I go in with a clean slate, and what I got from it, knowing everything about it, I didn't realize I was going to squeeze some extra juice out of this, and now it's turning more into a side by side thing for me. Um, this is Generation X.
Dude, I was about to say it's almost like grunge meets like tech savvy right
This
in the
is
middle, like nerds and grunge combined.
so this is
That
why
would that would kind of be this movie.
dude. This is Generation X. I never thought about till I saw last night where Joey's me. Joey's the millennial,
Yeah.
and you hang out. So I don't know if I'm getting too political on this. This is just from the movie. What I gathered from what the movie does for me. Um, it's just like in reality, man. These are the people like because all the characters. Let's just I don't even want to go through the characters. All the stuff is in there. You just gotta add it up. So like when they meet Lord Nikon, played by Mason. What's his name? Mason was Lord Icon's name. I already forgot it. What's his last name? No, Lawrence Mason. Mason, yeah, Lawrence Mason. He's an icon. I loved his character a lot because he's like the older guy, but he's still hanging out with the younger. He's still hanging out with high school kids, but he's all
Mhm.
based off line. That's why I thought when the plague and Nikon meet each other when the plague, by the way, who has photographic memory, which is insane. Like he's just looking at people put their passwords in and he's memorizing them. Like he
Mhm.
runs into the plague and they both kind of look at each other like we've crossed paths because they're both older, so they've been in the game longer. So but his character when they go to his house to go talk about it, and they go, "This is Dade Murphy," and he goes, "What? Your mom gets you a pewter for Christmas?" Like he's like making fun of him as in saying like, "Oh, just because you have a computer doesn't mean you're." These are hackers. So that's what we have to remember. These are people that I guess computers have been around, but we're seeing it from the hacker's point of view. We're not seeing it from everybody who follows the line or everybody. Like nowadays, anybody's a hacker. If I get if I meet someone online and they're like, "Hey, I'm so and so, I need money. Can you send it to me?" And I send it to them, and I don't get anything in return. Like not a, like sell anything. You got hacked. Like you're like, "Hey, I'm selling a car, but I need the money up front," and I send you the money, I get no car. Like you've been hacked. That's just the same thing. I like it when Emmanuel Goldstein, played by Matthew Lillard, is giving out those. He's selling tapes outside of that little club or that
Mhm.
hangout spot, and that's what it is. That's iTunes. That's what he is like. Everything's in here. Everything's in here like now. But this is before. This is as it's going on. I feel like this movie before so people to watch it now. The closest thing I could give it to is like Blade, but without the action, the feel of it. But if you watch it now, it looks cheesy. It looks corny. I don't think people would
Yeah.
really want to pivot to it. But it's got a lot of information. The part where Razor and Blade, when they talk about getting the free phone calls with the recording,
Mhm.
the audio thing, when they pull out the payphone, it makes so much more sense now. When I lost your video, but I'm wondering, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I can hear you. I just don't know why
All right, cool.
my video went out. Oh
So
wait, here.
So what happened with Lord Nikon when they do it, they pull out the payphone and they go, "Don't ask." I feel like it works now as a reference. I think back then they were saying, "Don't ask how we got it." Now I think it's like may have never seen what this is. Don't ask. It's a payphone. I got that watching it around. I feel like a lot of this stuff, like they're trying to force down our man. I don't want to go political, but I feel like a lot of stuff is that you can see like trying to force down our throat nowadays, where it seems like everything. What do they do in this movie? This is one thing I picked up now that I didn't ever pick up. What do Kate and Day do? What is their there's a bet, a wager in this, right? There's like a little
Yeah.
and what is their bet or wager? To terrorize the guy that's in their way. What do? They cyberbully him.
Hmm.
This is cyberbullying before cyberbullying
To
was
the next level. I mean,
yeah, dude.
before it was just like, oh, you're a piece of shit. It's more like they were ruining his life.
I think this is the beginning level, man. I think nowadays people try to just look at the politics, look at people like starting
Yeah.
YouTube channels, just like now they crush you. Like this is what. So what I'm trying to say is this movie kind of let it slide. Like cyberbullying could be
Yeah.
cool. It's not cool, but like that's what they're doing. So I picked up on that. I was like, oh, so this is an internet movie. It's just this is what the walking movie internet. This is what real life internet looks like. You have all
Hmm.
these people in this movie with their names are avatars: serial killer, acid burn, zero cool, Lord Nikon. Joey needs a handle. He's the young one. I love that part where you see Joey as the younger cat. Like it could be that they're all seniors, he's a freshman, but he's definitely the millennial of the group. He's the one like the way millennials are too, and me being a millennial and seeing why I was raised around Gen X, and like they talk about him. He's trying to tell a story about him hacking the ATM, and they all get onto him, and he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And they give him a little advice, then you go do it on your own. Not like nowadays where you complain and have things change because you complain. No, it's you messed up, figure it out, come back. He keeps messing up, but yet he's the reason why this thing works, why they end up
Hmm.
working out together. The part that where the plague, played by Fisher Stevens, I did want to talk about this for a little bit. I want to talk about Brownface with him when he did Short Circuit, and he was the Indian guy.
That's where I knew him
That's
from.
him.
Was he the Indian? Oh my God, no, he was in Bango.
Yep, he's
Was he?
Ben Javituya. He's that's him in Short Circuit. That's why there's a big
Oh,
there's a
he was also in Super
yeah,
Mario.
he's one of the Goombas in Super Mario Bros. I believe. Yeah.
Whoa, I did not know that.
Mm.
Okay,
Also, you're not aware.
interesting.
This is a first thing for you. So some people did, or I guess Indian. I don't know who. There's enough people are offended that this guy in the '80s paid an Indian in Short Circuit. And by the way, I mean I'm brown skinned, but I'm not Indian. But I'm bringing that up because he played. He's I guess a white guy playing a brown person, and people are getting offended. Where I'm like, dude, I'm brown and I get mixed with everything brown. Does it matter? You know, like he's. I see him as doing a performance. Like, you know, it's like if like you know, if you had. I mean, Carlos Mencia plays a beaner, but he's not a beaner. You know, like he's brown, but I mean, but he does a good job. I'm not gonna get mad at him. I mean, well, he steals, so he steals comedy, so maybe. But you know what I'm trying to say is like he played that character, and he's a good actor. I think Fisher Stevens is a great actor. I remember him in a movie called My Science Project. I love that movie, and it's an '80s movie. It has Dennis Hopper in it.
Yeah, man, I did not know that that was a white guy. That's
Yeah, dude,
crazy.
dude, I didn't know it was a white guy. He does such a good job. He
Yeah,
does a great job. Now, I'm only bringing this up for this podcast only for a few minutes because I'm brown and I'm not offended, but I'm not Indian. So, but he does. I was a child watching the movie. I was like, this guy does a great job.
sorry. It's whenever you said that, it just reminded me of South Park. It's like I'm white trash and I'm in trouble. Uh,
I mean, the like, his role in this movie, he's a nerd, man. He
yeah.
plays this.
Okay. So you know what it reminded me of, man? Grandma's Boy. Whenever
Yes,
you have
JP.
yeah, and he's just like, but it's like the step right before that. Like he didn't go full into it. You know, he's just like he's confident in himself, but he can play it off. Like now, watching this movie in this day and age, he comes across as corny.
Yeah,
You know, um, but I feel like if I'd watched this whenever it came out, it would have felt just a little less that way. I feel like it would have been toned down, whereas like it seems like it's over the top now.
yeah,
I don't know why that is, but like if I and honestly, man, like whenever I saw the opening scene, I was like, I might have seen this movie, but I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
yeah.
Because that opening scene was very familiar. Um, but yeah, man, like it's yeah, I think he did a great job acting. Like you said, it
Yeah,
just
he does a good patrol. It's just straight up
yeah,
acting. Like I don't know. It's not blackface or anything, brownface. I don't know. I'm not trying to pick on that. Like he's not out making fun of something. He does such a convincing job
hmm
that's fucking acting. Like I don't understand where else to say, but that's acting. Um, I was gonna say that. What was I gonna bring up? Oh, the because I just passed the part where they're talking about they're doing the quotes on
hmm
in the room. I like that teacher. His performance as a teacher, like he's very smart ass, but very pushy. Like I like those kind of teachers that just
me
you're
too.
gonna you got to learn. You got to learn, and we're just gonna have a good time learning. And I learned a lot about Angelina Jolie's character, Kate Libby, that I didn't really pay attention to the first time. A million times I've seen it till this time, where I was kind of because okay, let's say it's not that I didn't pay attention. I just accepted it. I have to because
Yeah.
it's part of the movie. She is a product of her mother,
Because
and
her
I,
mom's like this big
feminist.
yeah.
I mean, she's this big feminist girl that I mean that they're doing quotes, and he does Ginsburg. She does her mother, and then she says, "I well, she sold. She gets him because she doesn't qualify as modern day authors, but it's modern day, and she just sold 2 million books." So he goes like bird, like he accepted that. You know, he wasn't like a teacher that got mad, and you know you can it's cool, it's okay to talk back if you have a good point to prove, and if you don't, then you should listen. But she proven her point. But I love the Emmanuel Goldstein, the the Ozzy Osbourne reference. And he's like, "Oh, this isn't wood class." Okay, so when I was younger, I tried doing that and it didn't work for me because the teachers knew who I
So
was.
he's not in high school, is he?
Yeah, he's in high
Or
school.
is he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Ah, you
didn't
know what?
know.
You know what? I don't know. I don't. Now that I think about it, no, I don't know.
If is he like that Wooderson? Because he seems a little bit older.
But he seems
Maybe.
he could be like a super senior or something, like an extra
Yeah.
leap year senior, maybe something like that. He looks a little bit older, um, but yeah, he does like that's the I love that character. He's just there, like I don't have you on my list. She's all making a big deal. He's not in my class. He's not in this class. Well, I know he's not in this class, and he's well, this
Yeah.
is a
Right.
wood shop. Even right here on the scene where they're at the round table, and it's Freak, which I love giving a shout out to the character. Sorry, like I said, don't drink a club soda when you do a podcast. Rinole Santiago played the
Con
Freak,
Air.
Con
I
Air.
just looked that up.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you just like this is the four movies you're gonna remember him from, and Hackers, Con Air, Dangerous Minds, and Daylight. Um, I don't know if he's ambiguous. In this movie, I feel like he's maybe bi at the time, or now you could be pan or you could be whatever, whatever that kind of character. But I think back then he was. I mean, he wasn't gay in Dangerous Minds. He was a cross dresser in Con Air. I don't know if he was gay or not. And in Daylight, he plays just like a regular like a. Oh, he's a con man in that, or he's in a kind of jumpsuit in that. So I don't know, a felon or something. But this character that he created, the Freak, Phantom Freak, Ray Sanchez, the Phantom Freak, and his mom, es la mierda, computadora de mierda, like that computer shit, like getting mad at him. Like his, oh, well, I guess I'll segue into this. What do you think the dreams are? Everybody has a dream in this movie. Jesse Brabber, Joey, he has his about getting caught. Serial gets
Oh,
caught. The Libby has her dream about, she has a wet dream
yeah.
about a date, and I think that's when she starts getting her attention to him because she's so basically what happens is she's dating what's his name, the guy's name, I forget his name all the time. The She goes,
Oh,
that's his job, that's what he does, he's fly. Curtis, that's his name, Curtis. She goes, that's Curtis. What does Curtis do? That's his hit, he's fly all day. Like that just seems like a spoiled kid, and she's just kind of being with him because he has money or he's cool. But then she finds another counterpart that's into the stuff that she's into and that's challenging her, which is date. And I think that's where she starts having it. But I want to know is what are the dreams that represent?
man. I don't know. The first thought came to mind was like, what is it? Oh damn. Do do robots like count electric sheep or some shit like that?
Uh,
That you know what I'm saying? I can't even remember what it was, but let's see. You said Freak had a dream that he got caught, and then that happened right after,
and then you catch
and
the
then
scene where he goes, if I win, you have to wear a dress. If I win, you have to wear a dress. And the next scene, you see the dress they're making out, but then Libby wakes up, and then you had
yeah.
one where Dade before that wakes up. I think that's it. I think those maybe there might be three. I thought Joey had one because I thought Joey had a dream. I thought Joey. I can't remember if he gets caught because I remember when he gets caught into the
Well,
shower, and then he had a,
yeah,
and then he had a. I thought he had a dream before that. Anyways, I've seen this a
he
lot, and
might
I can't.
have.
But what are the
It
dreams
may
to
it
you?
may it may just be to disorient you and be
Yeah.
like, is this really reality? Oh, one thing
Yes.
I wrote down too is whenever oh shit, what's his name? His new name besides Zero Cool,
Acid burn and
um,
burn. Kill
Crash
override. Crash override.
Crash Override. Um, Whenever he first like hacks into that system, and Acid Burn is like, "Oh no, you can't be here," kind of thing, and you just see like a bunch of images going back and forth, and it looks like what is it like cartridges like pulling it. It's
Yeah.
almost like, and like I said, I have no idea about computers. I have nothing, no. It seems like that was like the first meme battle,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sending memes back and forth.
Yeah.
And so all those files that were like getting pulled and everything, like were those files in like his system? I
No,
guess like would he have?
no. Those files are somewhere else. They're hacking
Oh,
into
okay,
the
okay,
computer, and they're both in there at the same time. And
pulling it.
she's like, "What are
Oh,
you doing? This is
okay.
my area." Like,
Oh, that's right, because it's a TV
yeah,
station,
they're
right?
controlling the channels. They don't. They want to watch. So this is remember this is when they just put everything on. You couldn't control what you wanted to watch. You had to kind of actually, hey, they're going to show Die Hard at 7 p.m. on Friday. Oh, we got to stay home on Friday night to watch Die Hard. This is before you had the power, absolute power in your hand. I'm getting the dreams is just what you just said right there. There is control, so I feel like they can control a lot of stuff online, but they can't get what they dream is not going to happen in reality. So there's a significance there. There's your dream, there's the reality, and then there's what you can control. And they,
But I mean, freaks did come to fruition. I mean, that did become reality, and so did Kate's. I mean, she ended up with
yeah,
Dade. What was Dade's dream? Do you remember?
of her. I think it's with it's a wet dream of her first, because I think you get that one first, and then you get the freak dream, and then you get the then you get the her dream, and it's reversed because you think it's gonna be Date again, and it's her. And even when I looked at her face, Libby's face, she's like, like she's into it.
Yeah.
I think that's how,
Hmm.
but I think I honestly I think it's showing you that like you like that's where I'm getting. I might be going a little too deep into it, but I think it's where it's like your reality is not going to be what you can control, because he's thinking about that, because he got caught. They got caught in the park with the camera, so now that's in my
Hmm.
freak's mind. So that's why it happens. It's not like he manifested it. He just he knew it was coming, because it's in that one
Hmm.
place where I hit it that one time. Like that was a good one. And she goes into the boys' locker room. You know, now if you saw
Yeah.
girls, if you saw, I feel like if you're in high school now, you saw a girl in the boys' locker room, you talk to her. Back then, it was like taboo.
Well, and that's a funny thing too, is whenever I saw them like putting putting these discs in like places in the real world, like it was almost like they had hacks for life too.
Well, there's
Like
a
they knew where to hide stuff. They knew where, you know, or whenever
well,
he's like trash this, trash that, and then he's like, all right, I got you. Like I know where to go.
well,
Like it's like they have their own code. Sorry.
it's exactly, well, it's a you're on the right path. Like you're exactly on the right. But back then, you know, there's a difference between hardware and software, right?
Sure, we'll
Sure.
go with that.
Okay, so software is all digital stuff. Hardware is physical stuff. They're basically showing you the hardware they're going through. So this computer system that they're hacking in the beginning, it's a functioning channel TV station that has access to the internet, to dial up. I'm assuming is what they had, and all they did was hack in through the dial up and go in there and change it themselves. The thing physically, if it was nowadays, like if you were hacking the Netflix, it would all be digital. It'd all be software. So you would see more of just like pages opposed to like physical things moving around, where on this movie it's because it's the beginning, it's the founding father, I feel like, internet kind of stuff, where or like the 90s, like this is a 90s movie. It has 90s
Yeah,
all over it. There's not one scene that doesn't have 90s on this. You
rollerblade in, dude. That's one thing that got me.
and
Is
if I feel like it's we're still doing the same things now, but a lot of this stuff is online, like you're just doing it online, like I don't know.
cloud.
Yeah, I honestly think my thing I got from, because there's a part where the plague, what's his name, Wendell Pierce plays Kendall Gill, Agent Kendall Gill. He he hands him a copy, and the plague goes, ew, what they say, ew, hard copy, because he's used to everything being digital. Oh, that's all it is.
Mm,
The internet is just files. A magazine, that's Facebook. That's a web page. A real physical magazine, it's just an interactive page. That's all it is. There's it just gets confusing with all the numbers and people. You giving people access. Treat the internet like Dracula. You never let Dracula in unless if you ever invite Dracula in your house, you're fucked. Always keep him outside and see what Dracula is doing, and if you have to let him in or not. But that's just stupid. But I'm thinking that like that's what it is. It's showing him that he's the internet god. In reality, he's just a nerd, because you see it at the end, the plague, when he's trying to. It looks like he's playing a video game, and
mhm.
he's going up against Dade and all them, and and everyone around him's looking at him, and he looks like he's losing it, but he is losing it to them, but well, he is losing it actually, but you're starting to see what's going on before he has everything in the internet. Now it's starting to get exposed. It's basically he's the reason. He's the one trying to make the money. He's the one trying to blame people. There's a part there where he even says, "Where you're a hacker. You're a hacker with me. Like you're a hacker. We don't have family, friends. We're our own country." That's what it is nowadays. People don't really care what they say online. They feel like they cannot be held accountable. This is kind of back then when the internet, when people don't care what you said online. This is when they all did. They had their own little crew. So right here, I pause it on that scene where it shows the freak, the Phantom Freak. It shows Joey with no handle. It shows serial killer and Zero Cool, and they're hanging out. And this is how you flex in this part of time. He's talking about all the book. Dave's talking about all the material that he's read, and serial killer's pulling it out. This is how they shared information. This is sharing information. And he's like,
Mm.
"What about these books? Oh, you read that? How about this?" And he read all those books. That's just what it is. It's like if I were to send you a copy of a book right now, and then you read it, but he's actually read it, because it's he's that's why he's Zero
Yeah.
Cool, because he was a child when and another thing, he was a child prodigy. Joey
Yeah.
is a child prodigy. So they're showing us these other people, Emmanuel Goldstein and or serial killer. I like saying his name. It's like Emmanuel.
Yeah.
But even like he's a Jew. The freak is Hispanic. Joey's, I don't know what he is, a little kid. And then you got Nikon's a black guy. Yeah, Libby's a female. And then Johnny Lee Miller, you know, you guys a white dude. Like you have diversity amongst this is in real life, you know. So I guess I guess nowadays that's the normal coffee table, and back then there
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Growing up in the '90s in
Oh,
Texas,
yeah. It was not.
I mean, I grew up in it, but I wouldn't have these conversations. I didn't have any of that. I could look back at a movie or I could read something and I was there and be like, I guess. But you know, I never paid attention to as a little kid. I was like caught up in more of these worlds, and I don't understand why. I guess because it's just the reality is just kind of stupid and stuff. The thing I like about this movie is I think it's a lot about what's going on nowadays. I think a lot of how we handle the internet is because this is kind of like a precursor. I mean, they have the New World Order manifesto that he reads. You remember that?
Hmm.
And he says this is our bidding now. It's our time to stand up. Basically, everybody on Facebook get in this group and start bashing this person. That's what they're basically is what I'm seeing happens nowadays. But back then it was like, hey, we're still here. We're like kind of Fight Club ish, you know. So don't fuck with
Yeah.
us, you know. They're kind of like we have a voice too. Maybe it's because big corporate companies that then were always telling you what to do, and these little guys wanted to speak up. I mean, don't know exactly where this movie came from. The addict meeting, addiction meeting.
Yeah.
This is like, hey, you're addicted to the computer, and you think you're going for like a drug thing. No, you can being an addict, you can be addicted to so many shit. You know,
He said they're just drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes.
he's a little
Like,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an addict. He's like the rule number one, accept that you're an addict. And he's like, I'm not an addict. Um, I'll say like him going to that. The one thing that they, because this is pre-internet, like where explosion, they don't have on here because they don't have it. It wasn't at the time, wasn't a thing. Is behavior. They don't talk to you if you're a person that hangs out on a computer all day. How you actually can't. You really have a hard time interacting in human behavior because it's your this is a world we creating. You and I created a world side by side. It's what we
Mhm.
decide to be it, but it doesn't mean it's a real world. It exists, but you know, we live in the real world. So if I can talk to you here now and get along, and it works out great because one, I'm being recorded, and two, throwing it out there. But in two, like we don't get along or something, it's because we don't have interaction or something. Or it's you know, what I'm trying to say is you can say whatever you want, show your. And that's what I'm getting a lot about social media. It's always show your best light, you know, and in reality you could be something else. But also if you're always on this and you go around people that aren't on it, you feel it. I've never felt it as much as like coming like living in a big city and then going back to my home city when I was smaller. Like yeah, the big city, like I feel like the internet like thrives. It needs to thrive there. Just technology, get things processed. Like you need things done quicker. Smaller cities, no, not so much. Like you could actually watch 6 movies in a day and it wouldn't affect you. You know, or in a bigger city,
Yeah.
you probably couldn't. Or I don't know. Depending on how you do your finances, it all. What I'm trying to say is that like I feel like in order where we're at now and where we came from this movie, I think it was more the big because if you see this big city, they're like in New York, and
Mhm.
you don't really see any advertising for anything, or maybe that's the way they wanted it, but you don't you can get I like what I'm trying to say is this isn't like a 2000 movie. This movie doesn't set like in 2005, 2050. It's just in the 90s. Like this is it. I feel like this is what Austin was like. Because
Yeah.
I think I would come visit, and this is where you kind of get your different characters. Where go back to the border or go back to anywhere else in Texas. It's kind of Texas. Now it's a little different. That's what made Austin cool was the fact that it wasn't that people were talking about being cool; they're just doing it. You know.
Hmm.
I see. Oh, and this is where the internet to me they start getting it serious. Is where the people, the company, they take it as they're like, okay, this oil rigs are going to crash, but we'll see where that is until it gets closer to the day of that they start freaking out. Also they blame it. This company, this corporate company blames these hackers so they get away with it. Like that's just nowadays. Like somebody just wants to. You know what? You know what? You're a chicken fucker. Ben's a chicken fucker. And I just keep saying chicken fucker. And then finally it just spreads and everyone thinks Ben's a chicken. Is he really a chicken fucker? Like, like, no, he just says it from Super Troopers. That's why they call him that. But
Yeah.
it's like lies and shit like that spread. I feel like that's how the how it worked out with them. Like the what was I gonna say? Just the reality of this is happening more or less now. Like now you order something on your phone, it shows up the next day if you want to. It shows up an hour, whatever. They didn't have accessibility like that. So these guys are physically on their rollerblades getting around to another part. I will say that I didn't catch it till now, which I've always known, but like I said, I'm more aware of it now. Was when serial killer freaks out right before everything starts, like right before the big event starts, he freaks out at the payphone. He goes, He starts snapping his hands like woo woo woo. He starts getting hyped up. Sorry, I had to get it out the way. The cord had to be pulled, and I had to pull it. And everybody's like, "Hey, chill," because you're going to be in front of a computer just typing. That's all you're going to be doing. And he's over here being all. So they go tell him, "Go get the file. Go get the trash or something. Go get something." So because he has to go do something else, he has actually removed himself from the area that they're at, where they're getting, where they're all doing the illegal shit on the payphones. So when they all get caught, he actually doesn't get caught, and he's the
Mhm.
one that saves them because he gives it to Razor and Blade. And what are they? These two people? They're YouTube. They're
Yeah.
they're social media, and they even say a unknown source, media source, is willing to pick up our show. That's what happens now. You start your YouTube channel, and it's an NBC, CBS, whoever, Comedy Central wants to pick it up. Then they pick up your show and they give you a budget. It's the same thing. We repeat a lot of the same stuff. All we do is repeat because it's just easier. And I hope, I'm not trying to say don't repeat. Like it's good because we can work on things. What else do I have? I have my notes here. What's up?
I want to say I see why you see this as a sci-fi movie now. Just the way you're explaining it, it does kind of seem like sci-fi.
It does sci-fi. I,
Yeah.
okay,
It's
cool.
just like it's a different way of looking at the internet because you had this view of the internet before it was actually the internet, before it actually got big. So you were kind of like on the outside looking in kind of thing, and then now you're inside and you're able to look out.
Well,
If that kind of makes sense.
exactly what you just said. Just put it instead of outside looking at, put it. I was aging with it,
Yeah.
side by side. So I was next to it. The only because oh man, I've always had a computer though. My dad is always gave me a computer. Like I always, and then I chose Mac. I understand why people like Androids, and I respect why they choose Android. I give Android people shit only because I'm a Mac user. But I understand why they do it because in Mac you do then they call you the sheeple. It's just easier. It's simple. I don't have to work on with an Android or PC. I don't want to worry about corrupt files. I don't have to worry about. I don't want to have to work how to use the computer. I just want to use the software. And if people are able to hack into my shit, or just, I mean, literally, they'd hack. Like if someone from if someone working at a higher app working at Apple comes across my name and they're like, oh, let me go look at his shit in his computer. What's leads them to be that like just because they don't say anything, they can go and do it. And then if somebody goes and checks on them and audits them, they're like, hey, why you keep looking at this one guy? Like, oh, he's just a guy you grew up with. Okay, well, don't do that again. Or maybe they'll just say, oh, it's not a big deal. He's not doing anything wrong. But then he's knows stuff about me, or I don't know, like private stuff. Like that's the thing I see, and that's why you shouldn't put everything on your computer because anybody can take it. But that's what I'm saying. I think I grew up with it, and I think because I remember when I first bought my own personal computer, was in 2003 when I was going to college, and I bought a Dell, and it just sucked so bad, dude. Like I hated like, and then the Macs were getting better, and I just waited. I waited till the Macs just got to the point where they're idiot proof for myself, and then I jumped in
Mhm.
there, and that's. But then I didn't realize you have to like reteach yourself. Just because you know about it doesn't mean you know how to use it. So you got to learn how to
Yeah.
do things. So I feel like I aged with it, and I think because my cousin exposed me to this at such a young age. I think my blinders are on and off. But
Yeah.
the more I see it now, like it is, dude. There's a lot of things you can learn from here from this movie, dude. And that's why I don't want people to not forget about stuff like this. I mean, it's on Prime. Obviously showing it. It's a great movie. It's entertaining. Um, but it has a lot of it what goes on around now. This is the internet. This is pre-internet internet. When people talk about when I was younger and I used to hear Socrates and Plato and Aristotle talk about the internet before, and you're like, wow, they knew about it. Internet's just organized files. That's all it is. It's just information. Yet we blow it up as like something different.
It's funny, man. Like last night, I was kind of like thinking to myself whenever they're talking all the computer jargon, I was like, this is kind of like modern day Shakespeare to people who know about this stuff. It's like their speech interwoven into something. Like it's like trying to include them, trying to get them like, okay, a hacker could understand this, but you know, layman's terms, like, dude, I need them. I need to know like basics because I'm not well versed in any of that stuff. Like
Dude.
Unix system, I heard it in Jurassic Park. I was like, I know what that. I have no clue what it is. Like
It's a, I think it might be made up too. It might be
yeah, maybe possibly,
like I'm saying, like
but
I mean, I know I'm saying like they could have just made it up in Jurassic Park, and then they were like, hey, let's put it in this. I mean, Unix system probably exists. I don't know, but just to say like yeah, that's my thought on that.
so run a little
Yeah, run
close.
low.
So let's go ahead and rate these bad boys real quick.
All right. So Jurassic Park on IMDb is a 8.1 out of 10 out of 862,212 votes casted. I don't know how to say that. On Rotten Tomato. You want? Let's give our score first on this, and then. So
Okay.
what do you? These are easy. These are
Jurassic Park is 13, dude. All the
13.
way. 13. Easy, easy 13, man. Like there's no pause on this. Jurassic Park is quite possibly one of the most perfect movies that have been has ever been made. It has adventure. There are very few plot holes. Um, it has good dialogue. It has good interaction. It has good casting. Like it's just it's everything that you want in a movie. It has CGI that isn't overbearing, but you know looks real. And even nowadays, like it's hard to find CGI that looks real. It's still an issue. What, almost 30 years later?
Yeah, I think it's
So
working with CGI a little bit. Like my limited experience, I think it's just how much time you put into it. And
yeah,
I think because I did see I've seen a lot of behind the scenes growing up on Jurassic Park, and Spielberg really puts his time into it, man. He really puts it onto it. It's a 13 for me, dude. Hands down. My experience of watching it, the nostalgia factor. This might be a 14 if you want to learn how to make movies.
yeah,
Watch this movie. Watch
same.
how they made it. I mean, this is a great movie.
The
By the way,
angles,
yes.
like you said, yeah.
What is your favorite dinosaur off the top of your head if you have one?
Just off the top, I'd say Spinosaurus. Just from Jurassic Park 3. I mean, that was a really cool dinosaur. I remember it being hyped up real hard. Um, if not that, probably the Velociraptor.
Well, he
That,
kicks T Rex's ass. She kicks Spinosaurus kicks T Rex's ass.
like I said, I
So
think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, or at least some point. Like a dinosaur comes up and sniffs the Spinosaurus' shit and literally walks
well,
away. Like, nope, not dealing with this.
it's Spinosaurus, right? Well,
Yeah,
the T Rex piss keeps away other dinosaurs, but attracts the Spinosaurus. So it's like,
yep.
that's a crazy one. Yeah, the Spinosaurus is like, I'm finding somebody. Oh, I brought that up real quick because I think Spinosaurus, like I said, I think you and I have a lot in common. For a long time, I thought Spinosaurus was kind of probably my top one. Maybe even I've had this in my hand, the little Triceratops. But actually,
Mhm.
since I've gotten back into dinosaurs because of my son, Stegosaurus is now my favorite. My
Those are
favorite
pretty cool.
dinosaurs, but because they got the double mohawk, they're a unique animal. Unique.
Spike tail, like
Like tell
it's
they're,
it's a it's a defense and an offense all in one.
but it's also a dumbass apparently. So that's why I like him. They call him he's dumb. He has a small brain, and they don't understand why the Stegosaurus. We can talk about this. Let's move on. We're gonna get stuck on
Oh,
this.
hey, yeah. Before we move on, a good dinosaur movie for Maxwell. Oh, excuse me.
No. We can
For
say yeah. That's okay.
okay. Um, we're back. Have you shown that to him? Okay, good.
No, I
Good.
already, no, yeah. I showed it to him like a
It's scary at times, but it I feel like that's good. I feel
no.
like a
It's
kids
a
movie
good.
should have some frightening scenes just
He
to
did.
get you. I mean, yeah.
It wasn't until he saw that movie then he started being because when the T Rex
Okay.
is
All right. Cool.
primitive, then he goes back to being he goes sophisticated and primitive again. Like
Mhm.
that's when he started. I was like, he likes it.
Well, the Stegosaurus in that one too is stupid, right?
Yeah, that's why I
Okay.
love him.
All right. Cool.
I'm the Stegosaurus. But put it this way: critics' consensus on Jurassic Park is a spectacular of special effects and lifelike animatronics, with some of Spielberg's best sequences of sustained awe and sheer terror since Jaws. That's what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. It's a 91 on both scales. 1 million people
Wow.
voted on only 128 on the tomato meter, which I don't care, but the audience score 1 million people, 1,071,042. That's a lot of people to give a 90. This is yeah, I would this is a 91. I mean it's like a 95.
Unanimously praised movie. You just show that symbol, they're talking about Jurassic Park. I mean, it's great.
That
It's freaking wonderful.
so that's I mean yeah we could talk about Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. We'll figure out how we do that more because there's have so many
Yeah.
sequels. But we'll get to them. But Hackers 1995, it is given a 6.3 out of 10 out of 65,138 votes on IMDb. What do you think?
I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a solid 9. Um, if I had somebody that was really into computers, I'd be like, "Oh man, you need to watch this movie." I'd probably watch it with them so I can figure out something.
Did yeah
It'd be like, what's this? Like, is this a real thing? Don't worry about that. or is this still relevant? You know, like almost 30 years on that one too.
Oh, this one's
I
still
mean,
relevant. I think real
it's
life
a 20.
relevant. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I give it a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my non CJ nostalgia score what falls around a 9. I was gonna say
Hmm.
maybe a 10, close to 10. It's like a 15 for me. This is like number 4 on my list. This is
Yeah.
like this is right up there. Yeah, this is I we'll get to the CJ and Ben top 10 eventually, but this is up there because I mean I'm watching like Get Out and Us, and that's already in my so I got to redo my list. But this is definitely has always been this one probably wasn't a number one. I own 3 copies of this movie just because it has well one's kind of bad, but the other two it's got 2 different DVD covers, so I got both of them. I mean one
Hmm.
but one of the, whatever one of them doesn't work that well. Um, he even shows you how you when Penn Gillette comes out, like he shows you like don't use the word God because they're commonly they like that's hacking at its finest. Just someone else's password. It's hacking. And this is what I love about this movie. Like I can show this movie. I feel like I can show this to my 18-year-old brother now, and I be
Hmm.
like, this is the internet. Just try to keep up with the story. It's kind of this movie's a little dated. It's a little out. It's gonna be, but if you really think about the movie, it looks like just people behind like they're just people behind a computer just screen, and that's what the reality of it is. But if you go into this world and you make it cool and you make boring information, this is where I'm leading to with this. You make it boring information and you make it fucking good. People will listen. And this is what caught me. And I feel like since I'm an older guy, I'm calling myself an older guy, moving on with the cinema and still being this is gonna be part of my life forever, for as long as I can. Um, Being able to see a younger person version of me and be like, look, you need to watch this movie. And they tell me I've already seen it. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. Like that's where I'm at with this movie. Now, that being said, this is I'm on Rotten
Uh-oh.
Tomato. Rotten Tomato.
Okay, I'm on the tomato meter. I'm gonna say a 58.
That's a good guess. What do you think of the audience score?
Audience score is probably gonna be like a 72.
Damn, you're getting better at this. Um, so you went a little over on the audience score. You went over a lot on. You said 58, but it's a 33 tomato meter.
Whoa.
Yeah, 33, but the 68, so 72, that's not too far apart. You're close on the audience score. Out of 45 people that on the tomato meter, I need to see their credentials.
Yeah, but they probably don't. This it probably went over their head. A lot of
Hmm.
this shit. To be quite fair, they probably just went in like, oh no, like it was probably one of those movies that they thought, okay, I could understand this just going in. Hell, it's like I said, it's almost 30 years later, and they're talking about shit that I just am like, what? What is that? And people that actually are into computers are probably like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
if I had to guess, like I said, I could
Put
be wrong. It's probably a little outdated as far as that goes, but I
put
mean, I'm sure.
put it this way, with me, like this movie helped clean computing for me.
Yeah.
Like it made it easier for me. I couldn't just give me a damn book and be like, read this and understand it. I'm like, well, if I watch these people go through it, maybe I can learn. It says Hackers has a certain stylish appeal. 90s movie. But its slick visuals and appealing young cast can't compensate for its cliched and disappointing, uninspired story. Are you kidding me? Whoever wrote that? Are you kidding me? Really? That's what you're gonna
I
tell us?
bet
It's
you.
uninspired.
Really? Yeah, no, I'm all. I bet you this. I bet you most of these reviews were made in like the early 2000s, um, if
You could
not after that.
when you
You
see
kind of
C
have that feel.
when you see CJ get triggered. You really
That
think what's up?
so that yeah, yeah, man, you're about to detox all over
I am. I'm detox all over this damn. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on how we got. All right. So that being said, if you can give me like maybe 5 more minutes because I know you got to
Yeah.
go, and we can pick on something. I wanted to talk about. We're gonna bring up another movie that we watched, but I did want to talk about real quick. It was who was I gonna talk about? Because I did like Lord Nikon, Lawrence Mason. He was also in a movie that I think is a perfect movie called The Crow. Have you seen that
Ooh,
movie?
I haven't. No.
So we'll see how season 2 goes, but he's in The Crow, and he's a good actor. I like a lot of his performances, but I feel like for him being in Hackers and in the Crow, like that's a big deal. It's like I think those are 2 big movies. But we saw Soul. Let's do a little
Yeah,
2-minute review on Soul. What did you think?
I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was an interesting take on uh, transcendent life and everything, like life after life. I thought it was a good take on that. And you also like, oh, this is the great before, and you see a soul that just doesn't know where it's going, and it hit a lot of feels, man. If we're being real, it just kind of like it made you take a step back and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know. So
Um,
I like movies like that.
I took it as I oh, I love this movie. But I'm not like this is not a 13. It's not like that for me.
No, no.
But what I'm saying is I love the way this movie works out for me. This is not a children's movie. And yes, it is talks about death, and yes, it does like that those topics. Yes, I get that. But this was meant for like people like me or you or our age. This could have been a live action movie, but it was made into a 3D animation. This is if this is what I want to say about it. I have nothing bad to say about Soul. The only thing is it's a Disney movie. I don't know. Can we find anything on it? Can we find any what was the cost? It cost like can we find
Oh
anything
yeah.
on that?
Ooh, like how much it's made and stuff? I
Yeah,
don't
like
think so.
if we can't, so this is the thing about
Disney
it. If we
Plus.
can't do that from now on, from 2020, okay, no, there is a budget here. Cool. All right, but it
Yeah,
also
but does
20.
it doesn't have a gross or anything, does it?
No, it says the budget was 150 million. Box office was a 7.6, but COVID and whatnot. So I'll give this its respect that if I can't see what like Christmas Chronicles, I can't give that a 13 only because I don't know where it came from. I like to know where it came from. This seems like it has something there. Okay, and I just figured that out. Now plot. Sorry. All that being said, Soul. If you're an inspiring artist, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a creator, if you are someone in your dead end job and you want to do something else, or if you're a creator and you want to go into a dead end job, like it doesn't matter. Like if you feel like you watch this movie, it inspires. The one scene, and also I couldn't even tell that was Tina Fey for the whole. I had to
Me
wait.
neither.
I waited to see the credits. I was like, who is that? And I thought she did an okay job. I'm not like I wasn't like, oh, it's Tina Fey. I was like, okay, it's Tina Fey. Cool, I can see that. Joe Gardner was a great character. Made the story works really easy, but damn, they made New York look so beautiful. I've never been to New York, but it looks like I want to go to New York because of these Pixar movies. They made it look so nice. The vibe, the music is good. One of my friends, since I posted it on Facebook, one of my friends said that they thought it was going to be more jazz heavy and more
Hmm.
music. But this person is a big jazz music, and they didn't like that. But I was like, well, no, but the jazz that's in it is beautiful. It's Trent Reznor did the score for crying out loud. Like I've listened to the album like 3 times since I watched this movie last week. Like that, like it's an hour and like 17 minutes. I just breezed through it. I give this movie for sure. Now it's like a 12.
Yeah,
It's like a 12,
I'd
man.
I'd say 11.
11. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like yeah, I'll give it an 11. Because I would say
11.
if it didn't have the budget and all this information I could read on it, I'd totally give it like a 9 or an 8. Because I
Yeah,
need that. I need that. Because then I feel like it's just a sticker on the wall, and I don't know how the sticker on the wall got there. But but the reason I
also,
brought
it doesn't really sound like Jamie Foxx either, if we're being real.
yes.
Like that. But sorry, go on with what you were
No,
about to
no,
say.
you're right. I thought I couldn't even tell that was Jamie Foxx. Like I knew it was him because of the advertising, but I was like, oh, it's cool. I love the music. I love the story. I love the. I was raised by a single mother. And that's another thing. I feel like it kind of was really driven towards me, like my character and your character as in or your personality as in person in general, as
Yeah.
a human being. Because I was like, oh, I can totally relate to that point where you have to step up to your your mom. Me, you have to step up to my business woman mother. like, look, mom,
Hmm.
I gotta talk to you about something. But no, I love I thought it was great. I like that the story kept going more on, like the souls got
Yeah.
switched. I like that it wasn't just a, he lives, which is a great, I was thinking in my head like, well, if he doesn't live, that'd be like an ultimate like adult movie. But the fact that he lives is for the children. My son, my Maxwell wasn't really interested in it. It was, I mean, I can put
No.
on the Krugs. He's into that because it wasn't really like meant for a kid movie. It was more, it's definitely if you're a preteen, maybe teenager for sure. Like and you kind of inspire you a little bit. Maybe I mean not teenager. I mean 30-year-olds. If you're in your 30s, this is a really good movie for you. A teenager
Yeah.
as well. But the part where it shows just real quick, the part where it showed the guy going with the metal detector, and then he
Hmm.
goes into that body of being lost soul. That was powerful for me, man. Because he's doing something that he just figured he lost, but guess what? He's forgetting about everybody else, and now you're
Hmm.
obsessed with this thing. I think I kind of tugged at my addict persona, where I was kind of like, "Ooh, people need to know about that." Like that's also
Yeah.
because it's not like he's doing something bad, or he's actually just metal detecting. But let's see, what do you want to do for the 20 for how are we gonna start off 2021? We got 1 minute to pick. What are we
Okay.
doing? What are we throwing out there?
Um, Tombstone. I'm throwing it out there. Tombstone.
Tombstone. How do we connect the dots? How do we connect the dots? How do we connect the dots? Let's see.
You got Kurt Russell, so there you go, and Val Kilmer,
And that we introduce everybody to the
and
world.
you got Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So we're going 2020. We're just doing season 2 is what I'm calling it. What we're calling it. We'll see. Real quick, this is the chain. And I know there's another. I've been making this chain in my head for a minute. Do you remember? Did you ever see a movie War Games? Matthew Broderick.
With Matthew Broderick? No, I haven't.
Okay, well,
but I know what you're talking about.
So if you watch War Games, and you watch Hackers, and then you watch Swordfish, and then there's other movie I forgot about. And then you watch Antitrust with Ryan Philippine, and then you watch The Big Short. These all movies connect somehow, but it's about life and how the big government, big people, the people in authority, how they lie to you, and how they how they manipulate things. It's just throwing that out there. If you have ever questioned your government, you should kind of watch a couple movies in a row, and those are the 5 I suggest. And see, I'm not saying you specifically, just anybody listening to this, just watch them and see what you can pick up on him. Tombstone. Don't make me do this. Don't make me start off country. We're country boys. Don't make me side by side this with Wyatt Earp. Don't make me, boy. Don't make me. I'll go Unforgiven. I can go Quick and the Dead, but I can go Wyatt Earp as well.
Do what you need to, buddy.
Buddy boy, you calling out the Tombstone for December 31st, 2020. Tomorrow will be January 1st, 2021. We are now doing season 2 of Side by Side. We're starting off with Tombstone and Wyatt Earp.
Oh, all right, you did it.
We're doing it. We're a couple of Texas boys. You know, we like it. We're
country. My God,
we're cowboys. So
we got set out in Arizona, but by God, Texas.
Hey, it's all the same feel, man. It's all the same. I know you're right. I've actually been to the Tombstone site, but I'm saying us. We're not from Arizona.
We ain't from Arizona.
We ain't from Arizona. We're Southerners. We don't care how we enunciate words. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Really, I'm happy we did this, and thank you for watching Hackers, because, dude, like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again, man. It's on HBO Max, and it was. I enjoy watching movies multiple times. That way, I can get different perspectives on them too. Honestly. So I'll let you know. I may give it a go soon.
I think because I've seen this movie a million times. I think when you finally I've slowed down myself to kind of, because I already know what's coming. I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? You know? And I love the part that goes, Zero cool. Yo, man, I thought you was black. Like the media lying to get to be like this black guy. Like, dude, that's like Lord Nikon, man. He loves Zero cool, and that was way before he was younger. See, now we can do this fan theories that we're gonna jump into. God, the Lord Nikon gets started hacking because of Zero cool. He may be older than Dave Miller, but when Dave Murphy, when he started, when he was younger, Lord Nikon was younger. So he probably, I never thought about it like this. But yay, thank you for listening. And everybody, Ben, especially you, I hope you have a happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to you too, man.
Look forward for season
Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah.
Everybody, happy New Year.
We're gonna be starting off strong.
And I'm happy you did pick Jurassic Park, because it's gone today on Netflix. It said on Netflix. It'll be gone today, the 31st. I was like, oh, awesome! So we got it out. And Hackers, I don't care. I own so many. So you'll never hack my planet. Yeah, right. Don't ever say never. No. So next week we are doing. This week we just did, or this couple days, Jurassic Park and Hackers. And as in the new year, we're starting off with Tombstone and Wyatt Earp. So hang on in, guys. Y'all enjoy your day, enjoy your new year. 2020, see you later. Adios.